You're watching the Metaforecast episode 7. We're that deep. And this is a special one. I always say that, but like the caliber of wordsmiths / poets / orators is immense, wouldn't you say?
You listed it in threes, right?
Yeah,
Rule of
you know how I do.
It's hard to argue. I'm not going to argue.
I don't even want to argue with them.
It's redundant.
It's like what they can do with words is you don't want the smoke. You don't want
not
smoke.
at all. So no clashing up in here.
No, for sure. No clashing.
I still need to have a career.
Yeah, just leave us some space. Yeah, just leave us some space in the game. You know. So if you don't know, my most regular co-host on the Metaforecast, the poetry scene's official DJ.
Jeez.
Also one of the most hardest working / podcasters / artists / everything in the game. It's lowercase h Haroon, yeah?
Man remembered.
Yeah.
Just like MF Doom. All caps.
You know what I mean? And I ain't capping.
Mm-hmm.
All caps, but I ain't capping.
You're talking like that in Northwest London.
It's how we do, man. It's how we do.
It's dangerous here.
Shout out to NW6, by the way. West London too, we cousins. Yeah, Haroon, how are you? You good?
I'm good. Despite repping South London, I seem to be spending more and more time north of the river. Please don't revoke my South London card, please. I want to introduce to you a good friend, frequent collaborator, and RVJ and Swarthy, who we'll get to in a second, will attest to the fact that the Metaforecast is. The work ethic is ridiculous. You've
100.
documented...
Work rate is high, I think.
The work rate is high. You've been documenting poetry throughout London since the world reopened post-pandemic. I remember you were pretty much everywhere at every event with a camera in hand.
And that 2020 vision.
With the gimp.
I like it.
Poets need to work harder. That's what I'm going to say when it comes to that was too easy.
True.
Yeah, just gimbal in hand, always documenting what was going on. And then also just stepping to the microphone. You're very well known for your love and erotic poetry, the 90s throwback poetry, the R&B New Jack Swing reference poetry, and also you are the haiku don.
Yeah.
The haiku don dada.
The don dada.
You need to bring that back.
Is there anything else? Have I left anything out?
I think you might.
I think that was relatively fairly comprehensive.
Yeah, that's a good bio. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm a copywriter as my day job. I'm available for hire. I'll write bios, LinkedIn profiles.
That's it.
All of that.
Shout me.
All right, let me introduce Swarthy and then you can introduce me. So, to my immediate left,
Come on.
I've got a friend, a good friend. Goes by the name Swarthy or Spoken with Vision. You don't know. Man from Zim. Reppin all day, every day. Mr. Classy, Mr. Stylish,
Trust me.
both with appearance and words. Some refer to him as Shakespeare's
protagonist.
And with that, you can introduce me.
With a little twist, though. You're forgetting the twist.
With a little modern Zim
twist.
twist.
Yeah.
It's funny because that's the only bio you're ever going to get. So this is the longest bio I've ever had. I have the pleasure and honor to introduce my brother. I think I am the only person who calls him Mr. Twang because he literally is Mr. Twang. And the best way to explain RVJ is the second part is called Wordplay, right? That says everything about what he does. But it's not just a play of words. It's like how he literally plays words with instruments. I mean, now he's explored a soundtrack of romance, a soundtrack of vulnerability, a soundtrack of just like real poetry. So Yeah, man, he does a lot. He writes, he's curating, he's also now doing events as well. So shout out to him. And I can't wait until the mat comes out because that hat is popping, bro. So yeah, I am pleasure to be here today with my fellow brother RVJ Wordplay. And
likewise.
It's sick. It's gonna be a sick one. So
I'm excited.
everyone that's tuned in, yeah, you're gonna be replaying this one on a regular still.
Come on.
Even for just the voices alone, man. You hearing these voices that come out?
This is how we sound.
No. When the show night is activated, it's game over. I was literally listening to you like while I was washing the dishes because your Poem Nouveau set.
Yeah. No, I love.
Yeah, man.
Love.
Yeah, deep poetry there. I loved your approach to it.
What I find fascinating about this pocket of the poetry scene that we're all from, where we sort of formed our friendships and also I'd say our sort of creative partnerships, is it all came out of the soup that was the zombie apocalypse of like lockdown,
for sure.
COVID,
For sure.
all of that. And I know that I'd actually taken a break from poetry and I wasn't actually doing the Instagram lives. I know that Meta jumped into things with the Instagram lives, but I'm curious. I'd like to know more about how you guys got into poetry, but then also how you found your way into the particular kind of post-lockdown scene, and if there was an involvement during the lockdown with some of the social media channels. So I'd like to just know, or let's explore that.
Post-pandemic, how I actually came on the current poetry community that we have was because my friend invited me to a BYOB event just before lockdown.
Who's the friend?
Her name is Sabrina. Shout out to Sabrina.
Shout out to Sabrina.
She's right now, I don't even know what country she's in right now.
Jet setting.
She literally just messaged me and said, I called her yesterday because I missed your call. I was at a yoga retreat. She was, I think she might be in Sri Lanka last week. She was somewhere near Indonesia, Phuket, something like that. She's been traveling around, man. And shout out to her because, like to quit a job and travel and see the world, that takes big risk. And I feel like I've got a lot of different friends that do different things and I love that about themselves. Like, get to know yourself and explore. And on that topic, that's exactly what I did. I've always had an interest in poetry, but my poetry interest came from hip hop. To say the least, that's where my inspiration comes from in terms of spoken word or poetry. So went to BYOB, loved the event. Didn't want to perform, I just wanted to watch and absorb.
And this was pre-pandemic, so like it would have been like late 2019.
I think it was end of 2019, or was it early 2020? I think it was early 2020. I think that was that one. I missed the winter one.
Then I just wondered if I was in the same crowd as you, because I think end of 2019, like I went in November.
Okay.
And I didn't go after that. And then
that's
the world shut down.
Yeah, because I think it was the 2020 one. Because then I went to that one. Where else did I go?
You was online as well, BYOB.
Yeah, I did do online during COVID. That's true.
That's true.
BYOB, I joined online because it kind of went hand to hand with work, in the sense like we went from a world where in my industry I had to go see people face to face to do sales calls. Then I had to do Zoom meeting, team meeting calls. And it's like, how do you get someone's attention? The best way to prospect was no longer picking up the phone call, because everyone is doing that. Everyone's calling each other. Everyone's texting each other. You want to be away from your phone. So I was like, I'll just send videos. So I started doing video prospecting, which is kind of similar to what we do on social media. You record yourself. So you put your screen, you say what you want to say, and then you post it. So I just started doing that. And it just went hand to hand with just like me focusing on myself and trying to grow, really. And funny enough, during that phase, that's when I started doing name of the day, because literally I wanted to be intentional with each day. So I started naming the day. I discovered it off a book, which is a sales book. And he just says he just writes the name on the day. So I was like, writing is one part, but like expanding on what that meaning means to you is different. Because I visit some of them, I'm like, I can interpret in a different way now. And that's the beauty of poetry, right? You can hear a line and you can interpret it in so many ways, and you can simplify it in so many ways. So I think that's where it popped off for me. And I had 2 accounts. Actually, just before lockdown, I was like, let me focus more on my poetry account. Because I went to the sea and I was like, how can I be more intentional? So I deactivated my personal account and just started focusing on spoken with vision more than just the me going out eating, traveling, all of that. So that's what I was like curating with intention. And I still haven't activated that personal account. I don't even know if I'm gonna ever activate it. It's there. I thought I did for a year, and now I'm just like, there's no need really. Swarthy is me. Spoken vision is me. Like, I shouldn't have 2 different personalities. But when it does blow up, I will bring in only the personal friends will just be on that one. So yeah. So that's kind of like,
I look forward to being overlooked for the invite.
oh man, 100%. I mean, you got my number. That's
as personal as it gets.
Do you know what? It's so
You know what I
mad.
mean?
Like I always tell people like, oh, I haven't spoken to you in a while. I was like, I have not changed my number in years. I think I've had the same number since like 15.
You know what it is? People expect you to reach out to them.
Oh yeah,
That's what I've learned this
Oh, yeah,
recently.
yeah.
I've had people like, oh, you didn't check up on me. And I was like,
It's a two-way thing. Like, it's
yeah.
literally combination.
we've had this conversation.
Yeah. But to rewind, I think I started how I got into poetry. My man RVJ interviewed me was it 2 weeks ago?
Or 2 or 3 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of explained, like, I've always had a love for the arts. I used to do dance, and then through dance I did a thing called Big Deal. So Big Deal in Bargain was a event for anti-knife crime, you know. So you get the youths to do music, rapping, poetry, monologues, acting, dance. So I went there.
All the things really, all the creative side of things you can think of. During that time, I had just had a knee injury, so I couldn't do the dance the way I was doing it before. So I was like, let me now focus on something else I can be involved in. So yeah, I got chosen to do a monologue on Martin Luther King. Can't remember the monologue. I need to go into the archives. Probably shout out to Liza and try and get that back. But yeah, I remember just like tweaking certain words in the monologue because I was like, 1, my pronunciation, but 2 is because I was like, if I tweak this, it'll sound a little bit better. It'll flow with me a little bit better. And then we did that, and I just felt great just doing it. And then they had a section where they're like, oh, we're going to be doing expanding, like having a group of poets, a group of rappers, part of Big Deal. So I was like, actually, yeah, let me apply to be part of the poet group. So I had to write my own lengthy poem for the first time and have to perform it. And I think that's where it kind of kicked off. And I was like 15. So yeah. And I did it bits and bobs in uni, but that was just like, just to make sure I still, you know, I just want to, poetry, I still got it. Yeah, I still got it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much it. But I always say I've always been writing. That's the one thing I've always done. I've got so many, even back then I wrote poems that I have never seen the day of light. I don't even know where they are. Then I wrote poems on my phone. Lost so many phones that I learned to write on my Google Calendar because it's now on the cloud-ish. The Google, whatever you call it Google Cloud. I don't know.
The cloud, yeah.
It is the cloud. And then I tried doing physical, but I don't have a pen every time, you know. And then if I'm gonna write, I need to be in a steady place. I want to be sitting down, and that's where it gets tricky. So, yeah, that's pretty much a quick summary of my very extensive long journey.
Okay, and RVJ, your origin story.
Started in Jamaica actually. And I only realized this after I started doing poetry, like properly. Because I was heavily involved in the youth ministry at my church in Jamaica. And what happened was, so I was doing dance, I was doing drama, I was doing sign language, singing, playing the drums. So as far as expressing self through different formats is concerned, I've always been doing that. And then when we have, like, for example, Easter is coming up, we'll have Easter plays, we'll have Christmas plays, we'll have concerts, and we do skits. You know what age, 13, 14. I was the one writing the scripts. So writing, and then alongside that, so that was me being in church. Then alongside that, what I used to do is, back then we used to have like radios, old school radios with cassettes, yeah, and we used to record. And on a Friday night, I remember we had like
TDK 90s.
I wish. Our version in Jamaica.
You always have the pencil ready.
You know what I mean? Ready to record.
Only people of a certain generation will get the reference.
That was tricky. And the worst thing, if the film comes out, it's game over, bro. It's game over.
But with the radio, what used to happen is, obviously you'd have your ad breaks. So I'd be there trying to time it, and then obviously the ad's playing, and you might get a little bit of the ad, so you're trying to rewind it to then get it at the right point for when the music starts playing. So what I used to do is, I used to record these segments of music. I'd learn them, and then I'd change the lyrics of the music to gospel. And I used to do that with a lot. And then when concerts come up or talent shows come up, that's what I would perform. So obviously the song is very popular. Everyone knows the song. But then I've changed the lyrics, same flow, same beat, same everything. So that's where, and I was just doing this out of fun. So script, music, and then came to England when I was 17, and then all of that stopped. I came here to go uni, didn't go uni, ended up in my first job, which lasted like 6.5 years, traveling the world, seeing a lot of things, doing a lot of things. So all of the creative aspects stopped. It was still there, but I wasn't active in it. And then I fell in love with sports and fitness. So when I left that job, I started working in schools doing the same type of thing. And then I was still writing, but only like short, maybe a minute and a half poems. I was just writing as and when. And in 2019, one of my friends that I met in uni, he started hosting a poetry event, Poetic Conscience.
Oh, sick.
Denis.
Big up Denis.
So yeah, I met Denis in uni. We played American football. That's how because he's in the creative art, performing arts. That's what he studied. And I met him through American football. We played that together, and then I saw him hosting. And I was like, I've got a few poems. Let me check this out. So they started in February. I didn't end up reaching until September of that year, 2019. And that I was like, I did my first open mic. I didn't have one poem long enough for 5 minutes, which was the max. So I did a medley of poems, just so I could fit into that 5 minute. That was like September 2019. I probably did maybe between September 2019 and March or February 2020. I probably did 6 open mics. 5. I'd say 5 easily. But I like what I was saying. I didn't like the way I was saying it. I didn't like the packaging. I didn't like the delivery.
Yeah.
Was this about your stage presence? Was it about how you projected your voice?
Yeah, it was everything, the whole entire package. So I would fidget a lot with myself on stage when I watch the videos back. No, I've got a background in coaching. I did that at a professional level, so I am very meticulous when it comes onto detail, especially video footage. I scrutinize, and that's one of the things I use to hone my craft. So I was looking back at these videos and I was like, yep, that's not me. So when lockdown occurred, I didn't partake in anything online.
Yeah.
The one thing I went into, I wrote it down. I said, I want to be as comfortable on stage as I am in my front room, my living room. And that's what I went into lockdown with. I just practiced, I just rehearsed, I just went over it time and time again. Yeah, the rest is history from BYOB 2020.
Yeah.
2021, sorry.
Oh, shit.
2021, sorry. Yeah, that first poem that I did. And now we're here.
Because I remember one of the earliest videos I think was like there's a Flow Vortex video where you're in the park and they're filming it. So was that one of the early ones?
That was 2020. So I think there was so after I've been home practicing, I saw this. I think someone sent it to me, saying that Flo would be in the park, should come down. I was like, all right, I've been home practicing. Let me go and see what I've been practicing. Even that video, I was very, I was going at a million miles per hour with the poem, the pace of the poem. So I was like, all right, yeah. So when I did that, got the footage, I was like, all right, cool. Your presence is there, but you could see the nerves coming through still with the speed of what you were saying. So then again, back to the drawing board type of thing. And yeah, so that's so, but I think going to that first open mic in 2019, that's where I realized that, yeah, I love this because, so there's a very well-known dub poet in Jamaica called Yassa Safari. He came to England in 2015. One of my friends who lives in Nottingham is a poet as well, Jamaican born, Mayor Lindsay, his name. Big up Lindsay. He did like a mini tour with Yassas.
Okay.
And he came to London, they did in Nottingham, and I think in Gloucester, I believe, if I'm not incorrect. And I went to the Gloucester show, and I remember, and now this is a well-respected dub poet, singer, musician, educator in Jamaica, traveled the world over educating people. So I remember the night when I was in Gloucester performing with him, and when he went up to do his set, he said to everyone in the crowd, like, this guy, this was in 2015. He's like, this man, just watch out for this man. Now remember, this is my first time performing to anyone. So just me knowing or looking up to him from a toddler on the same stage with him. This is somebody who I grew up in Jamaica respecting, and he said that. I was like, I remember that. I never forget that. And then so those type of things sort of propel me forward. Just looking back to know that, like I say, his stage presence, effortless. When I say effortless, and yeah, I think back to those instances before I perform, or when I'm writing, or when I'm looking to do something. I was like, yeah, this great man said this about me, so he's seen something in me. All right, just believe a little bit. So yeah.
And you know what I really like about that story? Also, like, there's a connection to also like back home, and what I love about both of you guys is you're always representing where you're from. And I think not only does that give you like a flavor, and also like I don't know, like there's just something like edgy, because obviously that's something what's missing, I think, in the scene.
What it comes down to is it's the same thing with like British hip hop or rap. For a long time there were lots of people from Nigeria, but then no one was repping it until, in that instance, the MC Ty. He was repping that, and I think I've not seen anyone in the UK in the poetry scene from the African diaspora who's just so boldly stepped onto stage and gone into sort of using their native tongue. I don't know the name of the language in Zimbabwe, if you can tell that for the listeners. Shona.
Shona. So it's
no
weird,
one's ever come and done that, and not even just speaking Shona, but any of the sort of languages that are indigenous to the African continent. And I think similar within music, we've had a lot of people repping Jamaica, but within poetry, I think probably Anthony Joseph and Roger Robinson are sort of two very notable ones in terms of the rhythm of how they write. And obviously, shout out to both of them who have won T.S. Eliot Poetry Prizes. I think Roger Robinson, it was a year or two ago, and Anthony Joseph just won his.
Yeah, he just won it,
massive respect. And it was a very strong lineup, like Yomi Shode and many other greats. But going back to the original point, in this current generation wave of poets, no one else is doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
And again, I think you're one of the first who just started making music with your poetry. I'm not saying the first ever, but again, within this current wave,
in the community that we're in as well.
Yeah, no, kind of like the
you're
generation.
the first one who just like, and very quietly as well. You didn't announce it or make it. And this is what I also want to go to as well, is the way in which you maneuver as an artist and communicate yourself and your being and your marketing, which is you do things, you make sure that they're all planned and baked.
It happens as well. It just
And
manifests, like,
you know, we don't get pictures or videos of you on Instagram and you're in your apron going, oh, you know, I'm working on this.
In the kitchen
but he's in the
cooking.
kitchen cooking. He is chefing up.
Although
I mean,
but then you drop it.
Yeah. I think that has a lot to do with my personality. In the sense that if I'm working, I'm working. I'm not. If I say I'm going to work, that's what I'm going to do. And
We don't even say, you just go and work, you disappear.
because
and you come back with the goods.
because what you'll see is if you are actually putting in work and if you're actually dedicating your time and your craft and you're deliberate about what you do, the end product will speak for itself. The end product will speak for itself.
Love that.
And there's, of course, I can shout about it, but the time in my mind, the time I take shouting about it, that's energy I could be used putting in work. I've mentioned it once, and then it's almost like something that you said the other day. If I've said it, it's out in the world. All right, I've got to meet that in the physical aspect.
Yeah.
So that's what I like to do. And the thing about it is, I get so caught up in what I do if I love it. So I've got no time really, or I've got the time, but I'd rather not shout about it, because for me, I want to come and present, and then when you see your first initial reaction is the one I'm going to use to say, all right, maybe that needs fixing. So your first initial reaction for me is the most genuine. I'm not saying that you won't look at it future and have another perspective, but I like going off the first initial reaction. And that's why when my head's down, and when I'm done, I was like, all right, here's the cake.
Yeah, I that's what I like about what you do. You just because it's similar to how I work. Is like I just create, and I've got it done. It's it's already there, and it drops, and then I'm already creating something else. And I think I remember like you kind of agreed when I said it similarly in a WhatsApp group, and like what I love about you is like you're a proper showman. Like you proper do the thing, you put on a show, you're an entertainer, you got an amazing memory, because the amount of poetry in your
Catalog, bro.
The catalog, the repertoire, like it's amazing.
I haven't seen anything like it since Sarah Callahan.
Yeah, I mean she's got poems for days as well. Like, yeah, and also Rohan's got loads of poems, but like they're like, I don't know how you remember it, because like.
But the three of them between Sarah Callahan, Rohan, and RVJ Wordplay.
Poet RS, because he likes to be called Poet RS.
That's true.
Like,
sorry for using your government name. But RS Poet, Sarah Callahan, of course RVJ Wordplay, just having huge amounts of their catalogue committed to memory.
It's amazing, man.
You know, in a scene where a lot of times people are on their phones.
And
yes, I went there.
So you know what? So you know what? So,
I think
since we're here,
let's dig deeper. Let's dig deeper.
Right.
With that,
wow.
with that, I think it's for me, it's a cultural thing. So where I come from with that. So again, like I say, I'm a big music lover, especially the dancehall, the reggae.
You have griots,
yeah,
just like the African tradition.
What I grew up seeing. So before we had the stage shows, we had a sound system. So it's pretty much
system culture,
and people are chatting for days
with a microphone, like with the speakers. We were outside, and that is it. I never once saw any DJs, which is what we call them, not the ones that spinning on the ones and twos, but the ones that are actually
the toasters.
I've never seen any of them with a script. So that's what I know.
And again, it's not even. Some of it might be freestyled and ad libbed, but a lot of it is just they know their text inside
out, back to front, side by side. You know what I mean? So that's what I know. So with regards to me being so deliberate with memory is because that's what I'm used to. So it's nothing that I'm trying to change. I'm just again, like you said, I rep where I'm from all day, every day. So the way I do things will be the way that I know. And that's the only reason behind my approach, repping where I'm from.
You bring something, you're very deliberate and conscious. You're never aimless with what you do. You always have like a direct line of sight with what you do, and you just hit it. Like
Sniper.
That's
sniper.
what we do.
I'm gonna start calling you RVJ Sniper
No, Jamaican sniper.
Funny enough, this guy is
for sure.
Coming to a cinema near you.
I went gun range for the first time last year, and I
him?
told him
My
no. I was for like my friend's wedding in Boston,
Okay, yeah.
and then he explained to me it's like golf.
Shooting.
What? Yeah.
He's right. You have to
take your time with
Yeah,
it.
no,
you have to breathe.
100%.
It's all about the breath in both.
But then that made me thinking like this. You know, when you go golf for the first time, you're going range golf. You're just like, I'm now thinking I do not want to go shooting with this guy. So that's why I feel like, because that's something you've done. So it's like I always say there's activities you do that you implement in different things that are completely opposite to it. You know what I'm saying?
The transferable skills.
Very transferable
that's
skills.
it.
So that's why man's a sniper, innit?
That's I mean, I like, yeah. So that first job that I made mention of. So like I say, I came here to go to university. That was a plan to do information technology. That was a plan. That was a love at the time. And then I ended up in the British Army. A lot of people don't know that.
I know this, and it's one of those things that I keep somehow forgetting. And every time you remind me,
He's a gunman.
there's a part of me,
Yes,
there's that
he
glimmer of, I remember, but then it's like, how did I forget?
Yeah.
You say
I'm a
I am.
gunman.
I am.
No, but I haven't heard that one in a while. Like, I'm always just listening to other ones. On
So yeah, so with, and again, like I said, my life and the way I do things is as a result. So when I do something and it's done well, it's because I've taken it from a part of my life that I enjoyed, which is very deliberate.
So I'm curious. You know, people don't necessarily, except for there's been a lot of really bad wartime poetry that I can't bother with.
Outdated shit.
Okay, you know what? I can't fuck with that stuff. I can't fuck with it.
We're there, man.
that's some
Yes, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
All the
I hear it.
It's an abattoir in here. All the sacred cows are getting slaughtered today. For all the Muslims listening, Eid came early. Mary had a little lamb. Sorry, vegans.
Yeah.
The thing is, people don't necessarily equate people who go out to war with poetry. I guess, you know, we sort of view people as, I guess, maybe being very narrow, and, you know, people contain multitudes. What I'm interested in is what even motivated you to join the army, and what influence has your time in the army had on how you operate as an artist?
So what motivated me? So I had a cousin, again, when I was in Jamaica.
It wasn't a visa, was it?
This guy.
Sorry, Theresa May.
I had a cousin when he was in the Jamaica Defence Force. And you know, so in Jamaica, the Jamaica Defence Force, different from the police, those guys, pristine, like from their boots
I was gonna say
to their haircut to their attire to the seam in their shirts.
This is in Jamaica?
In Jamaica, yeah. Pristine, like cream of the crop as far as appearance is concerned.
There were people who turn up to weddings with not that level of care to
That's
their
what I'm
attire.
saying. So I had a cousin who always came to look for my father, and he would roll up with his squad. So as a little toddler running around seeing this Jeep pull up, and these were the Jeeps without the tops as well. It just looked cool. Everything about it was cool.
Yeah.
So I really looked up to him. And then he passed away when I was about 12 or 13. And then as a result of that, I was like, yeah, if I get the opportunity, I want to be just like him. Yes, because it was one of them ones where it passed. Actually, it might have passed away when I was younger, but I remember everything. I remember the funeral. I remember everything. So when I came to England and I started going to college to go to uni, it was just long in terms of the sense that the classes were few and far between, but yet still exams were coming up. Didn't make any sense. And then a friend said to me, "Oh, you can do the same thing in the army. They'll pay you to learn." And I'm like, that's what he said to me. But then in my mind, I'm like, and I've got the added bonus of becoming a soldier. Let's do this. So I went down, did the test. Long story short, I could have done any job I wanted to do, which was in the telecommunication field. That's what I was in. And I did that, and so I was able to travel. I was able to do sports. I was able to learn.
So even in the military, you were in comms.
Right away, right through.
Wow.
So then
you're very congruent.
Very. I love it. But yeah, so that happened, and then how does that apply to life now? Day-to-day life in the army is literally deliberate, precise. There's nothing that's, what should I say? Spontaneous things happen, but you've always got a method to deal with it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There's always a procedure in place to deal with it. It doesn't matter what happened. And then what makes it great, or what makes the qualities great, is that you can deal with it individually or you can deal with it collectively, but everybody's on the same wavelength. And I think with that, so like I said, being deliberate about what I do, being conscious about consistently being deliberate, it's not something that happens overnight, because I was in the army for 6.5 years. But if you do that every day, then it becomes easier. So sometimes people may say to me, "Oh, Ren, but how do you, for example, learn all your poems?" Like the last show I did, 12 poems.
Side by side
words, 12 poems. That's what I did off the bat. And I still didn't do one that I had. And I was like, how do you do that? I was deliberate with what I want to do. Like you said, that's what I'm going to do. Of course, it's not going to be easy, but I know I can do it. So let's just dig in.
So technically, you did 11 poems.
No,
my lucky number.
No, 13.
You had
13.
And one of them was new as well. I remember you did a new one as well.
I did. So the one with, so the first one, the ones with Noor was new. The ones with Leia was new. And then of the 8 that I did on my own, one of them was new. So I did 3 new ones.
Mad.
Also, there was at RVJ's event, there was a bit of noise in the back, and obviously he had the professional. He was such a professional. He powered through that.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, because I was sitting in the back, so there was a bit of a
sticky,
noise.
you know.
There was a bit techie.
Do you know what
I you did it though.
You're always gonna get that, and I feel so. This is why I prefer intimate events. Because you're there for the poetry. You know, the vibes, but I feel like you need to find a balance of, it's like, I don't want to say like school, like you get to go around playground and you get to focus, but it's like having that phase. So every time I'm thinking like, when I do a show, how are people gonna not get information overload, right? It's the same like when I do with work presentation. My information overload is always broken apart by a GIF. You're going to giggle, you're going to chat in between that, then boom, next slide is now facts and figures. So you kind of have to do that. And I feel like it's also being respectful. It's a form of art. You're not going to go in an art gallery and start splashing paint on someone else's painting.
Actually, that has happened recently.
It was
When
was this? What happened?
People vandalising paintings to make a point about climate change.
That's I mean, that's but but yeah, but it's
but
exactly
it's not
like
cool.
that. Yeah. Like the amount of effort someone spent to give you this and show you this piece of artwork, you just have to respect it. So that's me. And you're always gonna get that. You're always gonna get that.
And actually, you are someone who has quite a few pieces that are really long as well, and your memory is quite good as well.
Yeah, so my memory is actually, my memory is good. But then I've had poems that I just can't memorize.
Okay.
Like I can repeat.
So what's the barrier there? Like, what is it?
So
what's the differentiating factor between the ones that you seem to be able to just commit to memory? Because I've seen you on stage, and the ones that you deliver, it's as natural as breathing to you. So
I always feel like when you write a piece, the deeper the meaning, the easier it is to remember. You know, because it's yours. What you've written is still fresh. No matter how much time goes by, it's still fresh. If you wrote something that's kind of random, you can forget when you wrote it. What setting were you when you wrote it? So every time I write my poems or revisit my poems, I try to think, where was I? Who's this version of me wrote this? And if that version is still present, it's going to be easy to remember. So the newer poems are much more fresher, so you can easily remember. The older ones, you might have not visited a long time ago, and you might have grown from that person you used to be, and you become slightly detached from that poem.
This is something I wanted to ask, and you've answered it without me even asking. I've struggled with this. There's times when I go back to some of my older work, and it's just not happening. And it's because you've not just moved on, but sometimes you're looking at it and you're like, okay, it's important to acknowledge within your sort of trajectory in your journey, the canon of your own work. But you can sometimes see that there's just a massive step increase in where your work is now. And I think on a subliminal or subconscious level, we're like, I don't really want to commit to memory because I don't want that to now be the current perception and representation of me and my work. I think that's potentially what happens. I think that our subconsciouses are way more powerful and way more active at the steering wheel than we think.
100%. And so I always like, it goes back to what we're talking about reading, right? And I say to people, we can talk about so my problem now is the screen. That's the problem. If you're reading from a book, I'm cool with that, because there's just something about a phone that just screams out distraction. You know what I'm saying? The amount of times you have someone who's like, they're scrolling and then they have to now scroll.
Or is it because we're used to? Or is it just a question? Is it a thing where we're more used to a page being turned?
But I think there's an effort that goes into actually writing and transcribing, as opposed to just quickly bashing it out on the phone. And again, I think on some kind of subconscious level, and I'm just going to say it, I do prefer when it's performance poetry. I do think people should be memorizing their pieces. Like if you're a page poet, like a Roger Robinson or Anthony Joseph or whatever, then fine, wicked. Hold your book up, but normally you're in a literary setting, and you're reading. Now, if we're in the performance setting, like you know, we've seen people like Mosh. He comes in with a beautiful leather-bound notepad.
He creates an experience.
He creates
100%.
It's the experience, but I do think that, like you, I give more leeway when a performer is, if they're going to read, if they're reading it out of a notepad or a journal or something, I'll give it more leeway than the phone. But I still think that we're in a performance arena, and
So with Mosh, right? What I love about Mosh is that anyone that does read from a book, they kind of indulge in it. They make it a moment where Mosh is like, I don't know.
I was there.
So Mosh is reading this sexy poem. I don't think you were there, RVJ, but so he's trying to find the poem. But he's flicking through and he does that.
I was there.
Haroon comes from out of his big up
this is the thing, right? Anyone who knows me knows that for a long time in this segment of my career, I'm behind the DJ booth. I've not really been on stage.
You see this on my channel as well.
You see it on his channel in the videos.
Gets up.
Someone does something even remotely erotic, sensual, sexual, anything.
And he's just shaking.
I'm
his head.
like a jack in the box. Because I'm sitting on the floor. I've got a bad back. I've got really bad. I've had so many car accidents and whiplash. Like a jack in the box. I just come up and I'm like.
And I think
Really now?
I can't remember if you shake your head like this or
And
something
this was
like
the thing with Mosh is that it wasn't just that he licked his fingers and whatever. He couldn't. He was
said
taking.
something.
No, I'm going to say it.
Yeah, go say it. Say it. Take it.
It's my turn.
We're going.
So
He wants to relive that experience, bro.
It's cool, man. Yeah, go say it.
Do
Say
it.
Say it.
and he's like, he can't find the poem. Or it's probably deliberate. And he's like, there's a lot of fingering going on here. I'm not joking.
Mosh.
I'm not joking.
Mosh.
The
My G.
temperature of the room changed, and I'm pretty convinced
The women.
that it was the women who changed the temperature. It was
yo,
everyone. It was,
this guy.
it was only the
It was
XX
raining.
chromosomes.
Like
It's raining.
literally, I think when he did
Puddles.
that piece and he did that, I realized why mine's called Mosh, because the women were about to have a mosh pit over him.
Trust
I'm
me.
telling you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know-
yeah. Go for it.
No, I was just saying he creates an experience. I agree
Yeah,
with
for
you.
sure.
He creates an experience and a lot. And again, he's very deliberate as well. He doesn't rush.
He sits down. He's always sitting
Yeah,
down.
He's
I know, I was
always
gonna
sitting
say
down.
There's
So
something
it's
about
like
it.
it's
There's
like
some levels
it's his. That's him. That's what you're
It's
getting
like, it's
from.
like a routine. You know, like how LeBron does his,
Mm.
like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that.
yeah. Gets him in the zone.
But there's something about creating theatre
No,
Yeah,
for the audience,
for sure.
but also, and this goes back to what you talk about your time in the army. There's something about the consistency of certain rituals that, as a performer, gets you into a headspace.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like Mosh is definitely about that.
Also, Nomadic Libaax, right? So this guy is another guy that has a lot of poetry in his head,
Yeah.
but he'll know the
He
poem.
contains the whole. He contains universes in his head.
He actually freestyles in his sets as well. I forgot what he calls Poetic Free Flow, but he'll know a piece, but he'll use the book as a prop to add to that
To
vibe
that
as well.
experience.
So he'll pretend that he's reading it, but he actually
He's
knows it.
not. This guy.
That is
This
the opposite.
his.
That's a reverse.
See,
He has
that's
such
the type
committed
of
to
things
memory.
I like.
Yeah.
It's different.
Trust me.
Try being in a cipher with him.
Bro, you
Nah,
cannot
I'm
outcipher
not-
this
You don't-
guy, bro.
No,
you
you
can't
can't.
outcipher him.
Outspit him.
You can't
Shout out
outspit. You don't
man.
want to go on after him in a cipher.
I see man pull up at a train station
tried.
once on his Instagram, and he was just freestyling at the train station with the bus car. I was like, see that I appreciate that.
And this guy,
Different.
This guy, like you, he spends time on his craft. He'll tell me like when he's at yard, he'll just like put on a beat, freestyle. in his
Yeah, he's
own
told me
time.
this. He's trying to get me to be more like him,
Yeah, for sure, man.
and not for narcissistic reasons at all. As brilliant as Nomadic is,
And he has insights, man. And the thing is, people don't know this, but he doesn't listen. He doesn't really listen to music that much.
this is what's really shocking
That's
about
amazing,
Nomadic is
right?
Nomadic is a sick freestyler. He understands the art of emceeing,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and yet he doesn't listen to much music, let alone hip hop or grime
Does
music.
he read a lot?
Yeah.
Do you know if he
That's
reads a lot?
You know what?
He's very.
He reads,
He's very knowledgeable.
he reads
wise.
a couple books. He read that.
So he's a reader.
He's a reader, man. He's a reader.
He's a sponge for information,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
find it really fat because rightly or
Self-taught.
wrongly,
Yeah.
I'm always a big believer. If you're a poet, go check out other poets. If you're a rapper or an MC, check. I'm not saying you should just do that.
You have to get into the
You have
culture.
to
a bit.
get into. You
know
have
your
to
history.
understand what else. Because, for example, these days I've been to literary festivals,
Right.
and publishers are saying, look, if you want even a chance at being published by us, you can't come to us with your manuscripts. And you're not even able to sort of tell us who your favorite current authors or people are. If you want to partake in the thing, how are you not checking out? And that's not a critique of sort of Nomadic. Nomadic he's in a category of his own.
It's not in your
where
market.
When you know your lane,
Yeah.
yeah.
He has a very unique lane. But what I'm saying is I'm actually astonished that he is as
That's it.
gifted and sick and as skilled as he is, given that I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum, figuratively and literally. In the, I've been listening to hip hop religiously, consuming bars and different MCs from 1998.
R.I.P. DMX.
1998. It's 2003, so that's 25 years. and this guy isn't referencing this MC, that, whatever. He's like, and just stick a beat on,
And he goes.
and just
just
magic snowballs.
But then that's the thing, right? It's so I have that sometimes where I don't want to be like someone else, so I focus on me. You know what I'm saying? So look here, Nomadic, you need to come on a podcast and clarify this, yeah, because we're speaking on your behalf and you're not here. But
no, we'll bring him on.
but real talk, like he focuses on himself.
No, and a lot of good artists, especially when it comes time to make an album. Like I've spoken to people, like I remember interviewing Life Cypher, who are like a late 90s UK hip hop band. And again, I'll always reference him, the UK MC, the late Ty. Both those sets of artists would always say, Haroon, when it's time to get ready to do the album, I don't care who is dropping an album. It could be the album that's going to save hip hop.
Yeah.
I don't want to be influenced by anyone else in this space. If I'm going to make something it's going to be preserved forever on the DATs, the 2-inch reels, SSD hard drives now, I guess, in 2023. The cloud is just someone else's computer, bro.
Floppy disk.
It's just someone else's computer.
I've never actually looked at it like that, but that is true.
It is. We should we should put on a t-shirt and sell it.
Cloud is just someone
My
else.
monetization strategy.
Write that down for future reference.
It's not my fault my landlord put the rent up by 60%.
Also, speaking of music, like what was quite prevalent in when I was listening to Swarthy talk about his poetry is Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and you and I have had
Guy.
Multiple conversations, bro.
every conversation we've basically. Every conversation of ours is like a dissertation or a thesis. Not just music. There's music, but then there's Kendrick.
There's Kendrick.
So talk to me. Talk to us. Talk to us
Kendrick, sponsor me,
about K-Dot. K-Dot,
But yeah, I do
Kendrick
wanna know
Lamar.
about this one still.
Mr. Section 80.
My history with Kendrick is
And you have history.
we've got history.
You've got history.
Deep history.
We've got deep history. So basically, my brother introduced me to J-Rock. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's this J-Rock song with Lil Wayne. Is it All My Life? I forgot the name of it. It blew up and I was listening to it. Then I started listening to J-Rock and there's a bit of Kendrick. I was like, yo, who's this K-Dot guy, right? Then I listened to K-Dot, his mixtape. This is when Dat Piff used to be a go-to.
Big shout out to Dat Piff for the
Dat Piff
mixtapes,
was
though.
it was sick with the mixtape, bro. So
on,
I
man.
got
Okay, no, it's cool.
the K-Dot mixtape, and I was listening to it and I was like, yo. Then I realized it's overly dedicated. There's Section 80. Section 8 is still one of my favorite. Like, we can have a debate about what is your favorite Kendrick Lamar album, right?
That's difficult.
Yeah.
And there's so many arguments.
Yeah, look, we're not going to have this debate.
But Section 80 there's something very fresh, and I felt we hadn't heard it. Like, for example, you've got songs like ADHD.
Yep.
Then you got songs like Fuck Your Ethnicity.
Yep.
Then you got Rigamortis.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about Rigamortis? Because
That's my favorite song. That's my anthem. Rigamortis is the best song. The best.
He's putting it out there.
I'm telling you.
On record.
And you know what?
This is
I always say
what happens
this.
now. This is no longer a four-way podcast. This is just me and him talking.
Literally. So this is what I always say.
Guys,
Whenever someone
get a
is
cup of
like,
tea.
everyone says like, I'm a Kendrick fan. And I was like,
You're a Kendrick connoisseur.
and I'm like, do you like Rigamortis? And they go, what's that? No, you can't call yourself a fan. If
You know what?
You're like, get out of here.
If you don't know a song, like everyone will always talk about how Rigamortis, he was spitting so fast, like his pitch went higher. It changed, bro. Like anyone who's a rapper, anyone who's tried and
failed
orator, anything, bro, like you know what I'm saying?
repeatedly.
So when I heard Rigamortis, I was like, yo, and it starts off so jazzy, like so jazzy, and I loved it. So yeah, that's why I've got love of Section 8.
Basically, it's the same set of notes that just repeat.
Yeah. That's it.
And there's a term for it. I can't remember because there's
Dissect, the guy from Dissect podcast will explain all that.
Yeah, and the dissecting there's also some other stuff on
He
YouTube.
sent me that the first time.
Yeah, 100%. So I feel like, so for me, this is me listening to him since 2010, and then Good Kid, Mad City came out. So people not everyone knew who Kendrick was when Good Kid, Mad City came out.
Because Section 80 was the first time that we heard that Kendrick. Because he's very different.
Kendrick is very different on every single album.
But I would say that prior to Section 80, like to me, there's like, there's Before Christ and Anno Domini, right?
Okay,
BC AD on the calendar.
Yeah.
In a similar way with Kendrick Lamar, there's the canon of work up to about like Overly Dedicated, all the mixtapes.
Yeah.
The pitch, even the rhyme style, it's very like, even when like you listen to his current albums, even though he's switching the vocal pitch, the tone, and the rhyme style and the flow, you still know that it's Kendrick.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're not initiated and you don't know and listen to the old stuff, you could be forgiven for actually not knowing it was Kendrick.
Yeah.
That's how big of a step change it was.
I see what you mean.
And so for me, Section 80 was him stepping into that new.
Yeah.
He bought himself a new pair of shoes. He laced them. He was walking around in them. But Good Kid, Mad City was
game changer.
The unveiling.
Game changer, bro. I went. So I saw his tickets came out, and I was like, so my first ever concert was a Kendrick Lamar concert. That's my first ever concert.
And he's been going since.
And bro, I don't miss him. Anytime he comes,
did you go to the O2 show?
Oh yeah. Every time he comes through, I have to see him. Because it's like, I'm always like,
we need to get our tickets together next time.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm like, how are you gonna outdo what you did? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like,
this O2 show, right?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Oh yeah. That was artistry. I can't.
What I've found with the recent album is like his level of being able to perform rapping live.
Yes.
Has become
we
flawless.
Talked about his breath control.
No, it's like you watch his old performances.
Yeah.
And he's like many other rappers. You can tell it's live.
Yeah.
Like there's just little nuances, but this time, it's the most measured.
Yeah. And you have to remember, it's a world tour.
I know.
There's no days off. There's flights, bro. Flights for me, that drains you. Like flights can drain you, but he kept.
I know not to poke you when we're on tour. Then,
but yeah. So that's me.
Let the man get his sleep.
Let him get his
in economy class, no less.
Yeah. We can talk. Okay. Me and Haroon can talk about this for days.
We're gonna bring you on with George.
The audience, we don't wanna, bore you with the best rapper alive. So
trust me.
the reason, as he's my inspiration, like I said, I was inspired by rap, hip hop to do poetry.
Yeah.
Because poetry is hip hop is poetry. You know what I'm saying? So when I discovered Kendrick, I was just like, there's just so many layers. And I'm telling you, even if I listen to him now, I'm always unwrapping a layer of each of his pieces. So that's why I'm just like, cool, right? How can I be like the K-Dot of poetry? That's my mindset.
That's a good goal to aspire.
That's my mindset. You know what I'm saying? Big shoes, but I'm just saying it's me in it, so it's doable. But that's what
I know. I don't want to get in your way.
I love what Swarthy does. Is I think you told me this as well. Like your headline at BYOB. I think Haroon told me that you got your own track for when you come on, like it's wrestling.
Oh yeah, 100%. WWE.
And I thought like that was sick. That is such a sick idea.
That was a moment. That was a moment.
Like so, I
was just waiting for like a crazed Vince McMahon to just jump out, rip his shirt off,
and it was like King, and you're pointing at Kings like
and
I thought that was such a sick intro.
So I actually have a Spotify playlist called Intro. I have a Spotify.
Which you have yet to share with me.
Oh man, there's like so many songs. I have a Spotify playlist
have to, like,
called.
Tap into that.
You have to, man.
Yeah.
I got
I'm
one
hitting you up
called
on WhatsApp afterwards.
Interlude as well.
Jeez.
So
You really thought about.
I've thought about everything. So I'm like, my show. There's gonna be shows where it's gonna have interludes.
I'm excited because he's headlining at mine.
Yeah. Don't worry. Are you DJing for that?
Like,
Oh no, yeah, you're not there.
yeah, he's
That's it's like
it's cool.
let's delete this.
No,
No,
that's
no,
fine.
it's cool. No, we're leaving this in. We keep it real
But
in here. We keep it real.
but
in
yeah,
this
so
one.
I'm always thinking like I've said. So intro for me, WWE, right? I love. I was literally showing my girlfriend about it. Like, I loved Stone Cold's entrance. I loved The Rock's entrance. I loved Eddie Guerrero's entrance.
We got R.I.P.
R.I.P. Mine came in a low rider. You know what I'm saying?
Different.
Like Undertaker.
I didn't know you were such a WWE connoisseur.
Because the thing is, like in Zim, it was a really big thing. And when I was young, a lot of my creativity comes, and I've said this, like, kids miss out. It's because I used to play with, you can call it action figures, toys, whatever you want to call it. So that creativity, I'm creating stories between two things that don't move, but you can envision them as if they're moving, as if they're actually like the actual
Imagination
WWE. You know what I'm
taking over.
saying? So that's where I had my love for that. So that started in Zim, man. I used to watch Shawn Michael, all of that. Like,
who would you say was your best entrance that you've seen on WWE?
It has to be Eddie Guerrero, man.
You think Eddie?
I
Guerrero?
feel like
Who was your favourite, or who would you say was the best wrestler?
I feel like RVJ's got his own.
Wait,
Wait, so RVJ, you a WWE
who's your
fan?
favorite entrance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
big
so
in
let's start
Jamaica
with
as
you.
well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's big everywhere except like, yeah, it's sick, bro.
So, who are some of your favourite wrestlers?
So you know what? I used to. So
I love that we're having this
I
conversation.
have to say,
I love
Hulk Hogan is where I started.
Oh, yeah, true,
I
true,
can't
true.
see because I was very young when when he did that.
Shout out to Hulk. Shout out to
I
Hulk
was like,
Hogan.
you see, just that alone.
That's
That's right.
true,
I've never
that's
seen anyone
true.
do
So
that.
I've got one question for you.
Yeah.
Did you take your vitamins and say your prayers?
All day, every day.
But he and RVJ is vitamins.
Come on.
Do you know who? If it's an old school, another guy had a sick old school entrance was Sting.
Yes.
From WCW.
WCW, yeah.
Yes.
Mine came on a roll.
Yes.
Mine had a must. I remember I used to try. I think I might have one time used Sudocrem in it for my face. Yeah.
Shout out to Sudocrem. Shout out to Sudocrem.
Like my brother, I'm like, yeah, I'm Sting, bro. Like literally.
You must
Sting
be
was
hella
the hype, yeah,
moisturised.
Sting
bro.
was-
hella
Hella
moisturized,
moisturised,
bro.
though. And no, that is a thing, yeah.
Oh, what's
Swarthy
that
is
guy's
hella
name? Oh, the black guy with dreads. Oh,
Are you talking about Booker T?
Booker?
Booker T, yeah, with the spinneroonie.
No, his entrance is shit, the flames. Yeah, I get what you mean.
No.
But I just like him as
But
a
it's
wrestler.
more
but
of the finisher,
more the
bro.
yeah.
It's more of the hand.
Yeah. But yeah,
The spinneroonie.
I don't know how we got here, but we're here. innit?
Hey,
Other favourite wrestlers?
Undertaker.
So no, it comes down to
Yeah.
Undertaker, The Rock, Mr. Austin.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
a showman,
bro.
He's a showman.
Oh, it's mad.
I can't even.
So he did a video where he talked about there's someone, it's a Sandman. So Sandman used to do a beer as well. So Sandman would come with a beer and he would drink a beer. And then Stone Cold was like, but I do it different. I go,
Listen.
drink one, half. He's like, I don't even drink all the way. So he was talking about, bear in mind, he's actually drinking and downing a beer before he fights.
Love it, though.
And
Before
fight. Like, although we always
This
say
guy.
like, yeah, WWE, there's some planned stuff, but mine's wasted
before the fight.
before the
Yeah,
fight. So
it's-
yeah, he was the OG. Like,
Yeah, he is,
literally.
he is.
Yeah, man.
How did we even?
I don't know.
Get us? No. I don't even care how we got here anymore.
The entry,
That's-
That's what it was.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking lesser of all of you right now.
Why?
You've all gone down a couple of levels, a couple of pegs.
Who are you going to
Talk to
suggest?
us.
Who are you suggesting?
Shawn Michael.
Yeah.
Bret the Hitman Hart, the excellence of execution.
R.I.P.
How has
But so it's
no, Owen. That's Owen Hart.
We're waiting on you
Owen.
to do the intro. That's what it was.
Okay.
You had to bring him in.
yeah.
Bret Hart. No one
yeah,
mentioned
That's a
one
good
of the
shot.
greatest technical wrestlers
That's
in
a
the
good
No,
history.
but
of-
yeah, man had the shade.
That's
man
a good
had the
show.
jacket, the colors.
That is-
Do you remember the Hart Foundation with him and
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim the Anvil Neidhart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like just you know, with like Stone Cold, when you hear the glass break, you don't even need the rest of it.
Yeah.
Or when Undertaker, when you hear the bell toll,
That's
you
it.
don't
that
even
is
need to
it.
hear the
That's
rest
it.
of it.
If
You know who's coming.
smell, like literally, that it's just the first bit. That's
you don't
all
even
you
need the rest of it.
Viva
bro.
la raza. You're like, what?
Yeah, these
Yeah.
guys.
Nah,
Yeah.
those-
So
those
that's
ones are
so.
the
I
hardest
think
ones.
that's where I was like, that is entertainment, but they're showmen. But then they own their craft. Like everything is intentional, from your outfit, the way you walk. You know what I'm
Everything,
saying?
deliberate.
Everything.
Ryan Dre Sinclair, shout out Ryan Dre Sinclair
Oh,
as well.
yeah,
He's got
yeah,
a poem.
yeah.
He's got a poem
Oh,
about
but that's
Yeah,
it.
WWE.
yeah,
I
he
remember
does.
that.
He does. He does. I always
So
wanted to
happy.
do one, and I wrote one, and then he did his piece, and I said, "I'm just gonna put this aside."
That's like when everyone started trying to do Pokemon.
Ah, yeah.
But don't you hate that as a writer when you're like, I'm going to go for this concept
Yeah,
and I'm going to put, and then someone else does it and you're like, I need to
Yeah.
start. I need to go do something else.
Yeah.
So there's when RVJ did 5 minutes, I was like, I want to do my own 5 minutes. But I can't do it because I can't
I'm
do
gonna
it like
do.
he did it.
I'm gonna do 1 minute.
It's like you only
Might
says,
be
can I
onto
get
something.
5 minutes, please? And then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I wish I wrote that.
Forgive
poem.
forgive my 1 minute, please.
What's his name? What's the name of the poet? The one who also was involved with the BT Sports stuff. I've forgotten his name.
Fury.
Fury,
Yeah.
He's actually got a poem called The 3 Minute
3
Man.
Minute-
Oh yeah,
The
yes,
3 Minute
yes,
Man,
yes.
and he sets the
Flawless.
timer.
Yeah.
Flawless.
That was
Flawless.
Sick. That's sick. That's sick.
Shout out
Yeah.
Fury.
Yeah,
Flawless.
shout out Fury,
When I saw him do
Although
the-
there's
Yeah.
younger generations who don't quite get his
That
particular
was-
brand of.
Oh my days!
Flawless.
Like, when he did that, I wanted to spud, man. I was like, oh, raw. On
Yeah,
time.
Yeah,
No,
on
'cause his
time.
own- 'cause
time.
the first time he ever did it was Chocolate Poetry Club.
It was before
which
COVID.
is
It was
yeah,
before
no, because
COVID.
I used to
Before
go
my time.
because
Yeah.
so I used to go to
Before our time, guys.
Yeah.
before your time.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
on the circuit.
Prince the OG here. Man.
Yeah, I actually trimmed my beard today, so I just wouldn't have to show all the grey.
Right, I did it, man.
But no, it was an incredible night called the Chocolate Poetry Club. Miss Yankee was one of the hosts. Another guy
Shout out
called
to Miss Shanky.
yeah, Steve Cezanne, Paul Point, a few of these people, and it was in I think the Camden Arms or wherever. Basically, I think there's another poet who runs another night there now.
Oh, Real Rap.
Yes, Real Raps runs a night there now, but Chocolate Poetry Club was one of those places where people from different socioeconomic backgrounds, different racial backgrounds, different ages. Like there were people who were old age pensioners. There were people probably late teens, early 20s. I've never seen anything as diverse as
The
it.
mixture was. I like
And it was the original. Like it was rowdy.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably the rowdiest thing of that era because there were other things going back to like the early 2000s, the late 2000s. Like I think there was one called Bang the Gun. Like there was some crazy stuff. Like there's previous iterations of the scene that have had certain nights that we'll never see the likes of again. And Chocolate Poetry Club, there was so much noise, so much noise. And the headliners were always decided by a crowd vote.
Oh,
They kind
So
of do that at some
yeah,
point.
so basically they would put a sandwich board up.
yeah.
They'd put a sandwich board up, and there'd be two sides to the sandwich board. So I think what would happen is that if you got there early and you were on the first sandwich board, you're eligible for basically crowd favorite. If you get on the others, you just you did your thing.
Yeah.
That in itself is a privilege. But everyone on that first one, at the end, it's like, all right, votes. And then it's like, this is the winner. And then they got to do the headline, which I thought it's the only time I've seen something ever that is so democratic.
Also,
and so pure.
I see a few events doing some similar versions of that now.
Yeah, I think Poets
Yeah.
Palace, you can vote
Doing that.
who
Yeah.
performs next month.
And then isn't something similar happened with Grooverse as well?
Yeah, Grooveverse,
So a
they
feature.
they have like two types of events. One where it's curated and the other one where it's like, because I think Temi was in that one and then I think Arnie Beta won.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Arnie Beta as well.
Yeah.
He,
Fresh kid.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. So
Fresh kid. Metaphors for
and
days.
Say No More have introduced a new format. So what happened was with Say No More was like where you went and you did your open mic
Lunar
and
Legacy.
you got selected for Lunar Legacy.
Yeah.
What they've done now is they've created sister nights, which, you know, just for reasons of disclosure, I am the DJ for Future Flex.
Just DJ for everyone.
No, I have to.
Come on. Of course. Do your thing.
Branding.
I have to let people know what the
Yeah.
potential bias is. I
Of
don't want to
course.
sound like I'm picking
Yeah.
things up without letting my association be known.
Yeah.
And so Future Flex is kind of the, you know, where people come up and they cut their teeth, you do your open mic, like a BYOB and so forth. Say no more, the open mic is knockout.
Wow.
It's open mic knockout. And there are stages and you get through to the end. And I'm so glad that I didn't have to go through that era because I'm going to be headlining on March the 14th,
Come on.
which is going to be long after this is aired.
Survivor series.
Life is wild right now. I haven't
Survival, the
prepped
best.
a single thing for it. So
Nah, you're good. How do you deal with pressure? Are you know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
like this question.
I've got a good answer for this.
go on. Yeah.
I absolutely
Yeah.
love and thrive on it. And there's a reason for this.
Yeah.
I'm, as everyone knows, I'm diagnosed with autism and with ADHD, but it's particularly a very ADHD thing. So I was reading a book, which is, because of my ADHD, it's one of the numerous books that needs to be revisited because I've not finished it. Shout out ADHD, especially if you've got no medication. What's his name? Oscar Schindler, the guy who Schindler's List was based on.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a bunch of there's a book done on him which researched Oscar Schindler, where it said that obviously back then he wouldn't have been diagnosed, but they were absolutely certain the man had ADHD.
Yeah.
Because one of the traits of people with ADHD is you put us into ordinary situations, we're bored
Yeah.
because there's no stimulation. Like I remember, I'm the only person on my undergraduate course who failed the module in career management. All you had to do, bruv, you had to just turn up. It was like being in kindergarten. You just had to turn up and just get them to tick the box in, you know, each part of your folder, and you had to do the most brain dead stuff. It was like filling out your name.
Yeah.
I failed that. I got double firsts in all the difficult stuff. And with Oscar Schindler, what was fascinating with him was before and after the Second World War, under normal circumstances, this guy was a basket case. Failed businesses, couldn't keep his life together, infidelity, left, right, and centre. Parachute him into World War II, dealing with the Nazis and the Third Reich, and all of a sudden, dude saves like countless Jewish people, and the guy's a hero. And you'd think, okay, maybe he's tapped into something, but then the war goes, and all the stimulation goes, and he goes back to being a basket case. So as much as I might moan about not being organised, the pressure or whatever, for me, I only have two modes. There's doing nothing or there's doing everything. There is no in between of like, hey, there's balance, you know. And I've been through periods in life where like I'm talking crippling levels of like depression, like you can't even crawl out of bed or leave your bedroom. I've periods of time where I forgot what my living room looked like. I forgot which hob wasn't working because I hadn't actually cooked anything for ages. And yet, you know, you give yourself a full calendar, right? I'm going to be up at 5, I'm not going to go to bed till 12 or 1. And you just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And it works. I love pressure. To me, it's the only way to operate. I mean, my ex-wife used to say, you're going to die of a heart attack because it's just not healthy having that much adrenaline running through your system. But if stuff gets done, who can argue with the results?
Yeah.
That wasn't the answer you're banking on, but hey.
No.
How do you guys do it?
I would have assumed Mr. RVJ, he's Mr. Pressure over here, bro.
Whenever I think about pressure, I think about the phrase that says, well, I heard, the only thing to fear is fear itself. So if I no longer fear my fears, that mean I've conquered it or I've become friends with it or I know how to cope with it. I know to make that work for me because I don't think anything is wasteful. And that goes, that's just me. With life, with situations, with experiences, good or bad, nothing is wasteful. Sometimes you don't know why it's happening. and it feels like you're going to die, but you're still alive. The feeling feels like you're going to die.
I like that.
But you're still alive. And you're still living, but mentally you're still stuck in that moment.
Yeah.
Like kind of making lemonade out of lemons. You know what I mean?
So with pressure, like it's transferable, renewable energy. Like I say, when I go on stage, the one thing, and I've like, if any of you saw my status a couple of weeks ago, the only thing used to happen to me before I go on stage is I can't feel my legs. I don't know how I make it from wherever I am at to the stage to perform because I cannot feel my legs.
This is fascinating. I've so many really capable, gifted performers, and yes, I'm counting you in that category.
Oh, no.
They say similar things, and I think this is one of the things I want to deconstruct. Is we look at really, really good performers and we just think it comes natural. There's the work element, but it's interesting how many people have that element of there's still fear, there's still jitters. So that feeling, which I think is quite an unsettling one that you described, not being able to feel your legs. In that moment between having your name announced and getting up and getting to the stage, what do you tell yourself? What do you will yourself to get from there to there? And then once you're on stage and you're about to perform, what is the next thing that you feel? Because I'm assuming it's not what you feel there.
So the one thing I keep telling myself is, again, I go back to the only thing to fear is fear itself. If it's happening to me, that means it's a part of me. There's no way I should be afraid of. This is a part of Rayan. The nerves that I'm feeling now is as a result of I'm going to do something that I've never done before. Yeah, I've performed before, but I've never performed in this moment. So it's like you say, you read a poem or you hear a poem, you hear it different next time.
Yeah.
Because that moment is now new. So the unknown is always going to have some element of fear, some element of anxiety, some element of, because it's unknown. And that's what a lot of people fear, the unknown. But if I've spent, let's say, a week going over 3 poems, and I already know that my memory is good, and the nerves, I can't feel my legs, it's meant to happen. However, it doesn't mean that the show stops. I've accepted it. So what happens on stage, I've accepted it. The only thing I can now do is do what I've been prepping all this time.
So you can't feel your legs, but you've just accepted it.
No, I'm feeling my legs now because on the walk to the stage, I've accepted the fact that that is happening is a part of me. There's good and there's bad, there's light and there's dark. I heard someone say something the other day, show me the evilest of men and I can show you a time when he did good.
Can I just say something? We don't hear enough stuff like that said in this day and age where there's such a kind of binary of all good, all bad.
Oh,
there's a lot of
we're in that right now, and I think you want to talk on it.
Yeah, I was going to say no. So on that good and bad,
I like that.
You always have to. I watch a lot of anime, right? People that watch comic books. There's a lot of people that the villain is their favorite character because there's a depth about the villain and what made the villain the villain. You know what I'm saying?
There's always a backstory. And then there's always an origin story.
And how beautiful written it is, it questions you, was the villain really a villain? You know? So there's stuff like that. So that's why I always say, like, it goes back to kids. You had that kid in your class where this person was always disruptive and you're thinking, this guy's a troublemaker. Are they really a troublemaker, or are they dealing with something that you don't understand or haven't seen?
Not a part of your experience.
That's where I'm just like, it's all to do with, first, understand yourself. So it goes back to what you're saying about his legs, or I get nervous, right? But then I'm like, if I can get nervous, the other person before me was nervous. Like, we've all been at a particular stage where you couldn't memorize your poem. You're on stage, your brain goes blank. I hate that feeling. And you like, I'll practice this 4 times this morning.
So what?
Exactly.
In the mirror.
In the mirror,
So-
everywhere. How am I forgetting it? And it's okay. It happens. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? And it's like acceptance is one thing that people struggle with. Like, it's okay to be nervous. People get nervous. You're human. You're not.
Yeah, so
You know what I'm saying?
it's definitely the perspective, because once I've accepted the fact that this is happening, it's not made up. I can't feel my legs for a reason. It's just the jitters. It's a part of you.
Yeah.
So, like I said, show me the evilness of man at a time when he did good. Show me the most innocent man, and I'll show you a time when he did bad. Vice versa. So everything is in me, good and bad. I choose, though, consciously, what I want to do in whatever moment that's presented to me. So I've accepted that. All right, cool. This energy needs to be transferable fuel. And that is what I do. Every time you see me on stage being confident with what I do, that is my nerve that I've transferred into the performance. Because I've done it. It's a presentation. When my mind goes blank on stage, I freestyle. Because I am the subject matter expert of that poem. It's like a presentation.
I like that.
If you've prepped for, and we've all done presentations, if you get a topic and you decide that your grade depends on this,
Yeah.
you are going to delve into that topic at every angle. So when questions are asked from whatever angle, you can answer it. It's the same with that's how when I was in COVID, that's how I looked at my pieces. If I go over this subject that I am the expert in, because you wrote it, right? It's your baby. Even if I drop a line, I can freestyle it because I know what that line was about. I can't say it word for word, which is what we practice to do. However,
But you can get to the point still.
But that's important. Like I remember being in the theatre and prepping for a show where I was one of the I was the only spoken word performer, because they had.
I think I remember that one, you know.
Yeah,
I remember
that
that
was
one.
that was where it all began.
Yeah, I remember that.
The
That's
step
why I
change.
remember that one.
The step
You was wearing
change.
that hat as well.
Yeah.
Might have been.
Yeah, you was wearing
I
that.
remember seeing a video and I was like, is this a room?
I recorded that as well.
Say that.
This is what you said. You're like, I'm here for the new wave of Haroon.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've been writing
talk to us
since.
about that.
But what was interesting was working with theatre directors. They come with that similar mentality, but because they work with actors.
Yeah.
And this is a conversation I've had with Jodie, who's been on the podcast at least a couple of times now. And I have this conversation
Gonna
with,
come back again
you know,
at some
that
point.
off camera I've had this conversation about the importance of knowing the text.
Yeah.
But once you know the text, it in many ways it liberates you in the way that you said. So what they would say to me was, look, even if you forget a line, you fluff it up, anything, you can continue, you can ad-lib, you can do whatever, because the audience doesn't know. The audience doesn't know the text.
They
You
don't
know the
your
text.
poem off by heart. Only you do.
Do it off by heart. But if something goes a little sideways, as long as you are confident and honest, that's the thing. If you know the poem inside out, you can do a freestyle or an ad-lib that is still within the spirit of that. I mean, it happened at Live Lab Camden when we went there, and I was...
Yeah.
I literally,
first thing with music.
because I had this where I went with Meta and with one of my friends, Chidi Digital, and I wanted to jump on the mic, but you had to do it with a live jam band. And so you can't come at it the way that you come when you're just doing an a cappella on a regular poetry night. You have to come completely differently.
Just talk on that as well.
Yeah, we're going to talk. Yeah.
And so for me, I ended up that the poem. What I did the entire text, but of the amount of stuff that came out of my mouth during the whole time, it still probably only made up 60% because there was another 40% added that was completely
That's
freestyle
what I loved
ad-libbed.
about it. That's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I rewatched it because I just launched my YouTube channel this week. If anyone wants to check it out, it's at Haroon Creates.
Come on.
HAROON Creates. Can't believe I'm plugging myself more than the guests today.
Haroon, what do you do?
It's all good, bro.
What do you do?
I just freestyled and ad-libbed throughout. And I read the crowd. It was Ramadan at the time.
Oh, so basically what he did was like, you know Builder's Brew, right?
Yeah, okay,
So
yeah.
he did, you said if you have time, he has that line, if you have time, say.
Like, so there's the lines where I go, say mashallah, say
I know.
alhamdulillah, say
I love that one.
So instead I was like,
if
look,
you have even more time.
yeah.
Sorry,
So the beginning was, I was like, hey, if you have time, say mashallah. If you've got more time, say alhamdulillah. And if you've got even more time,
I'd
say
I've watched this video
da-da-da.
so many times. bro.
yeah,
because it's, and also I referenced the fact that,
good
it's
habit.
Ramadan.
yeah.
Because this was what was mad was
Yeah.
it's Ramadan
Yeah.
and I'm in a pub performing and I've got people sipping alcohol going mashallah, alhamdulillah, subhanallah.
Yo,
No,
And
no,
here's
no.
the thing,
you're the reason Rishi.
even that wouldn't make my mother like me.
No. I mean, but it was just another point in his like development process that I saw switch on. You know, when you see that
Yeah,
in real time, it's special.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad that I
You see
documented it.
those step changes. We've
Yeah.
seen them in different artists.
But on that topic, bro, do you know how much shit you've documented? Like,
I'm sitting on stuff from 2018, 2019 as well.
you got gems.
When I
Gems.
dropped that, so
That's going to be like Nas's, like Meta's lost tapes.
right, it's gonna be
Yeah.
it's the archive. So
Archive.
I've got so, and we're talking about pivotal moments. So I've got RVJ performing the chair at BYOB.
That was a moment, and this was
That was the first
Croydon,
time.
The one with man
Croydon.
10.
Croydon or the Wembley performance? Because he
I think
did it
it
both.
was
Croydon.
Croydon, yeah.
Croydon.
So that was a pivotal moment, I think, in your development.
Croydon, you were standing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is,
Wembley. Or was it Croydon again?
No,
You
no,
was-
Croydon
yeah,
was-
both Croydon.
no,
No,
Croydon,
no, that
Croydon,
was Croydon.
Croydon. He got the he
Chair.
actually
He had
got
a chair.
the chair.
Yeah.
Also, when he used the mask at Mind Over Matter. See, look, because I film it, I remember I'm the archivist.
That was in Camden.
Yeah,
that was in Camden,
Yeah.
and you did the mask, the piece with. I said, I'm fine. The mask piece.
No, that's just the mask.
Yeah.
The I am one is
Yeah.
I am one is different. Yeah, I am one.
But those are pivotal pieces which I think are amazing to see in person, and I'm so grateful that I got to film those as well, because I think like it's just part of your artist journey, and you get to see that like whenever you want to, and I just really love that.
It's mad because I just wanted to add or say something.
on the live performance freestyle thing.
Yeah, because people are so we are our biggest and harshest critic,
Oh, 100%.
and the reason
You know what it's like to be doing the post performance breakdown.
Yeah,
and
man. We've all been there.
your friends, your team, your people,
Yeah.
they're all like, no, it was good, whatever. And you're like, no, but that inflection, I actually paused because I didn't quite remember that. The cadence wasn't right.
Yeah. Even when I rewatch it, like
I don't even rewatch, I replay it in my head.
Like if I forget a line or I mispronounce a word or I change that line, it's gonna play in my head again and again.
yeah, but why? So that's what I was trying to get to.
This is the
thing-
perfectionist within me.
Because all right,
Go on.
Oh no, I was
No,
saying
go.
this is what I was saying. This is what I was trying to allude to. Like, we are so critical of ourselves,
Yeah.
but if you think about it, when we've practiced it and want to do it word for word, but then we drop a line or we get that brain fog on stage. However, you're able to not stop in the performance, but carry on because you're the subject matter expert and deliver a stellar set because you've improvised alongside a band, for example, or just by yourself. That adds so much more to your growth because, and this is what, I'm only speaking on this because I've noticed this in myself and it's something I had to get over. That adds so much to your growth because I am known.
What the fuck is going on?
Well, this is a first.
Right.
It's because RVJ is dropping fire, guys.
Okay,
So
cool, we're
the
gonna
alarm
talk
is
through
up.
this. We'll talk through this.
Yeah,
I
so
believe it or not,
I'm
that is-
saying-
It's a test, isn't it?
It's not Wednesday, bro. I thought all tests were done on like a Wednesday.
Should we talk through it or should we carry on?
Nah, we can. This is
Shall we check?
yo
I
guys. You
remember the
listen to
time.
the last
Yeah.
moments
We're
of our
at
lives
5
right
minutes
now.
past 8. We should
Alright,
think about.
we can pause it and just check out what's going on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Toilet break.
Yeah, no, I need to go to the toilet.
Martha,
I want to piss on the fire in it.
Put it out.
continuity. So we're just gonna have a coat on.
Hey, the warmth, the warmth came.
Cool. No,
Wait, actually, let me go continue with it.
No, it's cool, man.
No.
Yeah.
This is a high quality podcast. Bro. I'm warm now.
Cool.
I'm warm now.
I did want to touch on how Swarthy has just like the best clothes.
Yeah, I mean,
The man smells good.
razor
He
sharp.
looks, he looks like he smells
That's
good,
good.
too.
Thank you. The only reason I'm looking good is I just
Girls
came from
love
work.
that shit.
It's weird. It was funny, right? Because we had a sales meeting last week.
Yeah.
In Madrid. It's an international sales meeting. So the dress code was business casual. And
I
business
hate
smart.
it when people say that because I don't know what it means.
So ambiguous, right?
You know what I'm
What
saying?
did you wear? What did you wear?
So obviously, so first night I was like, what smart is business casual smart casual? Like, is it the same
Confusion.
thing? I had so much confusion.
Yeah.
So what I did wear the first night, so we landed, I had my tracksuits, I was comfy. Then that allowed me to kind of see what people did. Bear in mind it's an American company, so I did see people dressed in suits, people dressed not in suits, like blazers, chinos, and shoes and everything and whatnot. But the moral of the story is the following morning, so the evening was meant to be a bit more chilled because we're just gonna be drinking, chatting, whatever. When we had like our actual sales training, which is the business casual, what that means in America is wearing a suit without a tie.
Is
Like,
it?
Is that
literally,
it?
bro?
So basically,
That's
the Obama look.
Fair.
Yeah, like
Fair
it was like,
That's
man,
Just remove the tie and you're
yeah.
good to go.
Some people had trainers on,
Yeah.
and then one guy had he had trainers and a suit and tie, and I was like, bro,
Well,
Trainers, that's like the dad vibe. No?
hey, if you listen to this podcast, you know who you are. Innit? I'm
You
sending
leave a
all
comment
the shots.
in the YouTube section.
Hey,
Comment
literally, but yeah, man. Of course, I was best dressed for the entire time. Yeah, man.
naturally.
Naturally. And it's fun. I had an anime t-shirt, yeah,
Yeah.
and then I had a blazer on. So I was like, if we don't chat shit, I'll just put my blazer on. Then I took it off, and then like later on that evening, I was like, oh, you know, I watch anime with my son. I was like, so why you come to man when I had my t-shirt? You actually know shy, but then yeah, it was love. It was all love, to be honest. But yeah, that's me. But you were talking about fire, and then you set the fire
You set
alarm
the
off,
fire
yeah.
alarm.
So
So
Yeah.
we're back
finish
now.
finish that
Officially.
fire.
So back to that. Yeah, when we do mess up on stage, but yet still we decide not to stop.
Yeah.
For me, the realization, I just sat there thinking, why am I so caught up? Because I remember this one particular time I performed and I wasn't happy with the performance. But the audience was. They got from it what was meant for them. And then I realized if I'm so hung up on a line, a word, a pronunciation, it because I'm there to perform, but it's almost like I'm performing for me. So it's me and not the work that I'm here to do, the message that I'm here to give, the person in the audience who's here to be uplifted or understand that they're not alone. So that, or having that approach, made me even less, what should I say? Yeah, hung up, not so much hung up and caught up on the fact that, yeah, I'm not perfect. But yet still, like I said to you, there are instances where I've not performed the piece the way I meant to perform it. However, the reception, people got what they needed. So when I took myself out of that, not beating myself up, I realized, cool. And it made me more relaxed because I'm here to deliver a performance, a speech, a essay, whatever you want to put it, whatever medicine, whatever. There's someone out there who will appreciate what is done or what you've said. So yeah, stop. I'm saying to the poets out there, stop beating up yourselves about the performance, because that performance is a reference point that you can look at and develop from. However, if you sit there with it mentally while your body has moved on in the physical, the real world, then you're going to keep repeating the same instance because you're living the same instance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like getting into you creating things for yourself and performances. I really wanted to touch on side by side and how you came up with the idea, and then also the lineup, like how did you think? Because I know Lay, Nor, Temi, I know them individually, but to have that combination is very specific. Like how did that come about?
So the side by side thing came up with me just going to poetry events, open mic events, and there's always a running theme. So no one planned or grouped together and said, "Oh, this is the poem I'm going to do. You should do that one because it's similar." There's always a running theme 90% of the time, 80-90% of the time, where poems are similar. So I'm sat in the audience listening to the poetry and I was like, this was about love, or this was about acceptance, or this was about grief. You know what I mean? So from that I was like, and it kept on happening. It wasn't just random.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, you know what? I want to test the theory. So I want to randomly, I say randomly, not randomly. I want to pick some poets to be on stage, and and this is all I said to them. Make sure you have fun on stage. The first thing, or the only thing you should be thinking when you step off that stage is, I had so much fun, when am I performing again? That was the only directive. So they chose what they were going to do, how they were going to do it, as in Lay and Temi, and me and Noah. And it's mad because when I sent the poems, or when Noah sent her poems to me, I sent my poems to her. They just worked. Same with Lay and Temi. And the similarity and the alignment. And the reason why I did that is because I'm always saying to my friends, we all experience the same thing. There is this idea, this conversation in society that we are all so different and men are against women because we're so different. But yet still, I'm always of the opinion that we experience the same emotions, different triggers, different experiences, different things that cause us to experience love. Love is universal. It's one. Are the different types of love? Or we all experience love? You know, if we all experience anger, we all experience frustration. It's just that our journeys are different, so our stories are different. But it's the same emotional feeling. And I wanted to test that theory to see if I just put two poets together to see what they come up with.
Cool. So was it just I'm going to flip a coin, or you just saw you saw Temi?
So I've got a list of poets. So a lot of people don't know this, because I haven't said. I've got a list of
I need
poets.
to try and get on that list, you know?
I've got a list of poets that I've
I need
got.
to get on the list.
You've been. What's he talking?
You don't even know what the list is about.
But yeah. You don't even know what list is up now.
It could be the naughty list.
I've got a list of poets that I was just so happy to be in the space when I started in 2021 properly, for want of a better word. And I saw these poets and I was like, yeah, I'm going to work with that person. I'm going to work with that person. I'm going to work. So the list just kept getting longer and longer based on what I've seen, what I've heard. But because I'm putting on shows, projects, and I've got so much in my head that I want to do project-wise, I know who is going where based on. So that's how I selected those three poets. Because I looked at the way they do their poetry, how it comes across, what is said when they say it. I was like, cool. It's conversational, because that's what I wanted to do, because as a personal aim, I'm looking to develop my interaction with the crowd whilst I'm performing. It's not just go on stage, say poetry, come off. I want it to be come for the poetry, fall in love with the experience. That's what I've run with from the journey. RVJ presents Wordplay, the journey, and I'm sticking with that slogan. Come for the poetry. But when you come there, I'm going to have you unlock with the holistic experience of what we can do as poets.
Yeah, I really like the combination, because obviously everyone knows, I guess you and Lay have a lot of catalogue in terms of like what's on Spotify, what's out there on the internet. Nor too, because she's dropped problems poetry.
These problems.
No, so that's a slip of the tongue. She dropping problems.
You said she's a problem.
She's a problem for sure.
Dangerous.
What I really love is that so Temi, I've known Temi from like 2020 Instagram days when I was just doing stuff on Instagram, and then she slowly just started doing a lot of stuff really quickly. 2021 on the open mic circuit. Now her name is big. Groove verse, side by side, Poets Palace. If you have not seen her at Poets Palace, Temi, she's also working on music or EP. Yeah,
Jeez, that's gonna be fire.
I've heard the track. I've heard
There
the
you-
track.
well,
You know,
inside
she probably played you probably have been privy to like her EP as well.
Nice.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for like creating that moment, because not only is it something completely different, but just obviously just that, like you said, curating an experience where like, okay, as a poet and I'm in the audience, I'm like, okay, I want to add and contribute to this kind of like tapestry of works of art that contribute to the scene. Like, you know how, when Tupac did All Eyes on Me, or when DMX did Flesh on My Flesh, but like, contributing a project to the greater landscape of poetry.
Yeah, or like how Kendrick did with every album.
Yeah, okay. Pimp a Butterfly.
I'm not
Section
rising
80.
to the bait.
He's dangling it. He's dangling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just those things are very
Zen-like, just calm.
It's and that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Definitely contributing to the art. In a different format, because like I say, I'll forever say big up the London open mic poetry scene, because it has allowed me to solidify my craft and get better at it.
Yeah.
And that right there is a foundation for every poet to build on. And that's what I'm doing. I'm using the opportunity that the open mic scene has set to build on by doing things a little bit different. But then at the same time, highlighting the great poets and inspiring others to say, all right, I like that. Let me spin something off that. It's always leveling up as far as I'm seeing. So that's it. And then I guess it started with the introduction of music to my poetry as well. Because, of course, people are doing this before. There's a subtle difference with my approach with poetry and music, though. So where you'd find someone goes up and just bring a musician with them, and the musician improvises. When I go in studio, it's deliberate in the sense that I'm listening to beats, and then I've heard a beat. I was like, all right, there are elements of it that I like. So yeah, Pablo will say that to you. Big up Pablo as well. That's my producer. He said to me, I'm the first person ever come to the studio and ask him to change the beat. So rappers will come in, whatever, singers will come in, they'll like the beat, but there's something about it they don't like, they don't change it, they'll just sing over it, and that's done. I'll hear the beat, I was like, no, can you take that hi-hat out? Or can you double up on that bass? Certain parts, so it's very deliberate, and that's why I think what I do has that subtle difference, because you will not find the beat is original, but then I've now, worked on it to implement and fit the poem into the beat so it goes hand in hand. So yeah, and I think that has just let me stand out a little bit different. So yeah, big up poetry and music, innit? And live music with poetry, that's another level. I'm in love with that.
I'm seeing a trend recently with poetry events, with music jams as well. Like,
but that's always been the OG.
Zara Wrights has one
on
Sundays. Night is Young.
True, man. It's
so for me,
just a quick plug to Zara Wrights.
Yeah,
and Night is Young.
Yeah,
jam session there. Obviously, Grooverse. Just another
Live
level, and I've
House.
yet to actually go. Again, it clashes with
I've never been.
my commitments to Future
Night is
Flex.
Young is good, man. So if you know Zara Wrights, she actually is a drummer.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I forget. Forgot.
Yeah, she's a
she
drummer.
is a sick drummer.
Fair.
Like,
She's just sick at everything she does,
Yeah.
bro.
um,
But like,
I spent-
so my dream is to go to New York, New Orleans, like those jazz
Yeah.
ooh,
places. and
See,
do
that's on my
poetry
bucket list
in
as
those-
well, you know.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. So that's
New Orleans.
so when people now
The culture
bringing on
there is
instruments,
mad.
I've been dreaming about this since young. You know what I'm
I
saying?
hear that.
So yeah, there is this even one thing. So so I mentioned earlier dub poetry, which is a form of poetry in Jamaica, where it's rhythmic, but it's played with drums as well. That's the main instrument. That's the main instrument that gives the beat. Yeah, you'll have the little shakers in, but the drum
It's the
and the
main.
type of is the main instrument. So it's mad because I've written a few dub poetry, but I've not performed them yet because I haven't bought one of the drums yet.
Fair.
So,
What is that like?
them,
Are we talking 2023 or
Nah,
2024?
yeah, it's gonna be this year because
Alright,
again,
cool.
I think again just to cut this, say this real quick. I think I'm plateauing now with what I do with poetry. So I'm like, all right, because I've not really delved into the Jamaican culture of poetry.
So that's what we can expect next.
Yeah, that is my next. Like when I deliver the way we used to do it in school, different.
Right.
So and that's what I'm on next. So
I wanted to also I'm gonna dig in the crates with Swarthy for a bit because I want to
Start
go
digging.
10 years when Swarthy was spelt with an A.
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm gonna go? Do you know where I'm going? Because I think I touched. I don't know if you guys know, but Swarthy's got this. He's one of his first poetry videos, Parsimonious.
Yeah.
Do you wanna touch on?
I'd rather be
I-
parsimonious than generous.
Yeah, this is a young
Drinking,
Swarthy.
Spending, some saying
Jeez.
I'm a generous. But yeah, so I did, because basically, so if we touch, that poem was actually just to let people know, like a young me. So I've always been a salesperson, right? So when it comes to like, I'm talking to people like, how long you been selling? I'm like, cool. I've been doing medical sales for now, 5 years. Prior to that, retail, probably 4 years. Prior to that, community work with a bit of like integrated selling, probably like 1-2 years. But like school, bro, I used to sell cookies, innit? So I've been selling since I was young.
Top shotter.
Top shotter, bro. And I was like,
Top boy.
I always thought like, what can I
similarities.
sell that I won't go pen? You know what I'm saying? My parents won't have to worry or stress
About the
And
bail.
100%. And Lidl was just the best. They just did the best cookies
Little,
for
yeah.
the cheapest price, bro.
Jeez.
So it was a thing where they were just like 23p and I'm just selling it for £1. And people would buy it.
markup.
So
Come on.
anyone in my year group
Yeah,
that
yeah.
went Sydney Russell, everyone actually has bought a packet. So if you imagine a year group,
300% markup, mate.
let's not talk about the percentage. It's
Let's
just the
not-
fact that
let's
people
not
knew
details.
the price.
Maths.
I didn't hide the price. I went to everyone, it's 23p. But if you're not buying it off me,
Yeah.
you can go Lidl.
Yeah.
Because it's
But it's
just
here,
basically-
it's
just
now.
here.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like you're a disruptor, literally
Yeah.
like Uber boy. You're
So
just like,
so that all happened. But how it happened is I've had some dumb tags. So at one point I was AK.
AK, yeah.
So back in college, a couple of my
Alright,
friends,
AK.
they gave me that tag as well.
Yeah. Well, but mine was
Because
different.
my middle name's got an A.
Oh, but
and then
my
my
one
surname.
is because I had an afro. I was Afro King.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
You've been
saying.
king from early.
Then I cut my hair. I was like, I can't be associated to a gun, you know? I can't be walking around associated to a gun and stuff like that. Then I was always trying to find like a new name. And then one thing I used to intentionally do was to all my crafts, subconsciously, I used to work on learning new terms, new words. So my mom was like, growing up, my mom always made me do like spelling bee, like all of that. So I know how to spell very complex words to improve my vocabulary. So I came across the word Swarthy because I came across the word swank, right?
So that's where it comes.
So swank came first. Not that I was gonna call myself that. I saw that word first and I was like, what does this word mean? Then I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's to do with like your gait, the way you walk, your swagger. That's what swank is. But I was like, that sounds wrong. Can't be like, look at my swank. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, it
This
doesn't.
is-
You know what I'm saying? Like,
doesn't
what's
sound
it?
right.
It does.
What does
does
it
not-
rhyme with?
It doesn't ring.
Yeah,
Like,
it
it
just
doesn't ring
doesn't.
right.
It's, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people can't hear this. This tone deaf. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Suave, wow.
yeah, trust me. But then luckily, like Swarthy is just a little bit
Yeah.
there, and I was like, oh, I actually saw the definition. I'm like, rah, that's me. Dark complexion.
Jeez.
That's literally what it meant. Swarthy just means dark complexion, right?
I like that.
And I remember like a lot of people used to ask me like, why is Swarthy, why dark? So I was like, I'm dark skinned. I never used to. It's not that I didn't like being dark skinned, but there was a stage when I was manipulated to prefer light skinned over dark skinned because of the media and society. Then I got to a stage where I'm just like, why am I into all this? That shouldn't be the case. Someone's beautiful, they're beautiful the way they are. And then I owned that tag, but then I was like, there could be someone called Swarthy. How can I make it more original? And shout out to Space. The name's gone out of my head, but basically, there's it's kind of like when the ASAP Rocky generation was happening. Certain rappers would type a particular way. So your vowels, an A would be a V, an E is an X, an I is an X, an O is an X, and then like a U is a V. So that's how I flipped the A to a V. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was Suave with just a V. Then I was like, I need to make a poetry page. Like, what can I make a poetry page? What name? I don't want to be just, because Suave is my personal account.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, how can I give it meaning beyond just being dark complexion? And then I just remember one of my favorite bands,
SWV. Yeah, come on.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I knew.
So I
Right
clocked
here,
the
right
first
now.
3 letters. Right here, of course.
Human
I was
Nature
like,
remix.
Human Nature. Oh, let's not even
Shout out
go
to
there, bro.
SWV. And
That's one of my interests at one point. But
I will
there.
happily
I'm
do you
getting
an
there.
intro.
But
with
so
that
I've
tune.
got, speaking of intros, I've got intros where I'm only gonna play when I get to a certain level that I'm like, cool, I can play this then.
I think you're there.
Nah, so
See, the self-critical.
so the thing is,
aspect
no,
of the
it
artist we
is
talk
the
about.
self-critical, but it's like it's an evolution, right?
Okay.
So I want to play at a stage where I'm like, I'm as big as SWV. You know what I'm saying? That's why I want to pay homage to them and not get copyright and get sued.
yeah, we ain't trying to get sued out here.
But it's all growth. Like, to be honest, I know when I'm gonna play it. If I'm gonna play SWV, it will be when I'm doing a set based on probably love, which I've never done. Like, if you think about it, I've only probably done one love.
I need to hear a love poem from you. I think
Why
that'd be sick.
is the question?
Why is the question?
Why?
So the thing is, like, everyone that has interacted with me would know. You
Your
can
name's
feel
Romeo
my love.
as well,
Yeah,
by
my
the
name is Romeo. Yeah.
Oh,
I
makes
try to
sense.
avoid love because it's if I start doing love poems and then people are like, who's Swarthy? I'm gonna have to come on stage and be like, this is Romeo on stage right now. Hey, ladies, if you got a man, tell him to leave the room, innit? But yeah, so
You're going all in.
I would do it at a later stage, bro. I do it at a later stage. But I always say like love comes in so many forms. And people should feel my love. I don't have to explain my love. So even if I do a poem that is not love related, there's a bit of love in
In
there.
it.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just me expressing how love is.
I love that.
So yeah, that's the evolution of SWV, and I was just trying to find how to get those words. And V, I just needed vision, and then S was like,
Which you've always had.
yeah, 100%. It's all like, because for me, it's like it's not. So now, like when I'm older, you discover things that you did without realizing you were doing, and you're just connecting the dots when you look back.
Yeah.
But like I've always had the vision, but it was like it was more like when I used to see vision, it was more like a dream. But now when I see vision, it's just a vision. Like it's not a dream. It will happen at some point. I will make it happen. I will speak into existence. But it's so we're talking about rehearsals. Like when I've got a set, I practice whilst me looking at the audience. Because I've been at BYOB so many times, I'm on that stage when I'm in my bedroom. Like I already see how it's gonna be. So if I've gone a stage where I've never been before, that's when I have to adapt and go, okay, cool, this is the stage, and that's the beat of an entry song. It gives me enough time to settle to know.
Wait,
where
so
people are.
you're putting the entrance song on to give you that time to
scope
basically
the
scope
place.
the whole.
Yeah.
all of this, what this demonstrates is just there's a level of thought into everything you do.
Yeah.
You know, the name,
Love
the whole evolution of your name, how you go on stage. And if we're going to talk about going on stage, talk to us about your BYOB headline.
Yeah.
And then really what we can expect next from both of you.
Yeah.
And where everyone can find you.
Yeah, definitely. That headline was just, it was a process. Like, I just remember, do you know how many times I asked you, like, should I do in this order or that order? Or should I take this one or do this? Like, literally.
The level of envy I'm feeling right now.
Exactly.
I
was performing. Yeah,
I really hope you will consult me too.
Oh, yeah.
My services as a soundboard, trust
So
me.
it's always like,
I'm here for it.
since you're not here on the second, I'm definitely going to be consulting you on that one. But it was like, I wanted a flow. That's the one thing I wanted. I wanted a flow, but I also want to take people on a journey. But what I wanted to do is, like, when I perform, like, you've seen different poems. I was like, do I do a new one? Do I do stuff I haven't done? So I was thinking of that. Back then, I don't remember which was new or wasn't new, or had I performed all of them. But definitely what I wanted to do was have people understand, first and foremost, who Swarthy is, and then understand that who Swarthy is who Romeo is, and then understand that who Romeo is who Tapiwa is, and these are all three names that are the same person.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to do by picking those specific pieces. So that's why I put, for example, Shona in my piece, so that people can remember. Like, my full name is Tapiwa Romeo Marissa. Romeo is my middle name. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I'm in an English country. No one could pronounce simple Tapiwa. Hence,
Tapiwa.
Hence I did the
Simple.
so simple. Hence I did the poem Ndiniani.
One of my favorites.
Who am I? Because people couldn't. It was, and that's actually facts. Like, I had to go through that in school. Like, I was just like, that's long, and it's just like having to explain people how to pronounce my name. It's long, but like, if you get it, you get it. So some people always ask, and I'm like, this is how you pronounce it. You pronounce it. I can only repeat it so many times until it just gets really annoying. You know what I'm saying? So, and Rome is just a beautiful name, so it just made it easier. And especially just in life in general, I am sometimes very bad with names because I see so many people every day, but I'm really good with faces. Sometimes remember where we met first time, what we were kind of doing. That's where my memory is good, because especially with the job I do, I have to remember you. And what makes it easy is because my name is so easy to remember. They'll be like, Romeo, right? And another thing about what people forget is voice plays a part of memory. If you've heard that person say your name before, it kind of resonates. So that was the whole set that I was going for, to educate people.
Okay.
And what you were saying is have fun. But what I really wanted to do is, like, I have a playlist. I literally went through my playlist trying to find what song to do for my intro. And I came with the freshest MC.
Which I bought and downloaded, and then I played it to introduce you with, and it was an absolute joy. Because when I downloaded it, I listened to it, and I was like, he really has put a lot of thought into this. He's crafting an experience.
When Haroon told me that, I was like, damn, this guy, man. Like, why did I get that post?
But did you know that through being your DJ for that intro, you influenced my choice of intro music?
Really?
For my headline set where you were the host and introduced me.
Yeah, okay.
Because I used
the
opening track of Ty's final album before he passed away, A Work of Art. And the track is called Working Tro. But with the king bit is in capital. So it's like a working intro, but king.
The one at the Jazz Cafe.
Damn.
Yeah. Are you,
I love
that. That is my intro music until I can find something better, because and it was produced by Ty as well.
Yeah, mad.
So yeah, you've had an impact.
Yeah.
Nice.
You don't even know.
That.
We like that.
Yeah. You guys have all influenced me at some point. in my poetry journey. So
have,
I really
and
loved.
we could go on more.
I need to have you guys again, like, because
Yes.
I need to talk to you guys more about.
Yeah,
stuff.
we didn't even scratch the surface.
No, we
We
haven't.
I don't feel like
We haven't.
we need a more time
We
because I feel
haven't.
that there's so
Yeah,
much. I
it's
was
the
asking
fire. It's the
I
fire.
I mean, just the WWE thing. And,
Yeah.
That was
And you- and
Yeah, we
know-
can talk about that for days.
and you know, if we're gonna do I think we should do a WWE episode one day.
Oh yeah, we have to.
But
He's laughing.
we need a fifth person in
Yeah.
who I'm going to curate. It's a guy
Okay.
called Ryan Skillett.
Okay.
He's a rapper.
Yeah.
Also does WWE podcasts.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
He's also now got a hustle as a wrestling promoter.
Wow.
So he's fully in. Wow.
Fully in.
He's a fully paid member.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Fully paid up member. Trust me, if you thought I was bubbling today, I am comatose. Not mellow, I'm comatose compared to Ryan Skillett. Shout out to Ryan Skillett.
Shout out. Also, I just wanted for the soundbite for the podcast. The reason why the fire alarm went off is because these two are fire.
Jeez.
Like, it only had to happen.
Had to
once.
go there.
Only
Come
'cause
on.
Had to go
Come
there.
on.
There's so much
Come on.
fire in the booth right now.
But to end off first, can
Yeah.
you guys tell us where
Yeah.
people can find you,
Projects and that.
projects
Yeah.
and all of that, and social media plugs?
Mine is short and sweet compared to RVJ's long list of things to do.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me on Instagram, and that's SWVrthy, SWVrthy, or at Spoken with Vision, and that's at Spoken with Vision. And that's the only main platform I do my poetry. If you want to find me professionally, you can find me on LinkedIn, and that's just Romeo Marissa. That's the other thing I do. No Twitter. Snapchat, that's personal.
You can probably find them on YouTube though. I've got
You can find me on
Snapchat,
YouTube.
personal,
Got him
If
slipping
don't
on
know.
you're gonna
YouTube.
find me on YouTube, just go to the Metaforecast, man.
Ah,
Just
thank you,
that's literally you're gonna find my best work.
Well, so you can find me at RVJ_Wordplay on Instagram, which is you'll find most updates there. Yeah.
Don't you have a website?
Not yet.
Oh.
Coming.
You can find them on
So-
Spotify as well.
So yeah, as far as the poetry and the music is concerned, so I've got an album that I released 1 year old last month.
Jeez.
And, yeah, Closing Doors. That's on
Time
Spotify,
flies.
most streaming platforms. 12 tracks, 11 of which are poetry is accompanied by music. And I've got an EP that I released in October last year called Mixed Emotions, which is one of the crowd pleasers, 5 minutes. It's on there. Upcoming. So I've done one show so far this year already, which is Side by Side, with words which we spoke on. The aim is to do 6 events this year, 1 down, 5 to go.
Damn.
They're all going to be different, so it's hashtag different with everything I do. My aim is to bring outside audience in, just to let them see what we can do as poets.
like that.
Dope we are. That is my objective for this year. Bringing outside audience in. How am I doing this? By coupling poetry with another pastime that people enjoy doing. So we've got that audience coming in and introducing the poetry audience to something hopefully new, or reintroducing them to it. So that's the plan. That's what I'm going to do. I'm thinking of doing another album this year, but
Nice.
it will be like a birthday gift to myself, which is in
Right.
December.
You got a name for it? Yeah. Are you keeping that under the
Leave it, leave it,
under
leave it.
the RVJ Wordplay?
Keep it. But yeah, like I said, the most important thing for me this year, I don't know how I left it for last because yeah, it's that important. And we spoke on this as well. I'm a big believer in collaboration. I've last year when I tried with 2 shows, it was to see what needs doing. And I now realize that if I want to help to make poetry bigger than what it is right now, I have got to collaborate with the people who are around me, who have all got their own unique set of skills.
Skill set.
I think I'm a type of person that work well with others and is good at bringing people together to work. So That's my aim. Collaboration this year is my main aim, because imagine, as an example, a space is charging £500. The four of us hire that space. It's a four-way split on the
125
cost,
each.
which is, I've found, is the biggest barrier for us poets. Venues. Getting venues and
cost an arm
prices.
and a leg, bruv. I'm looking for venues right now.
So and a lot of us know that and look into it. So collaboration is the only way. When it comes on to the finances, when it come on to the production, when it come on to delivering the show, when it come on to getting audience in. So that's what I'm on. So keep your phones close by for those who, close with me, because we're doing stuff this year. So if you're on it, let's do it.
I believe everyone is doing bits this year.
Yeah.
Well,
2023 is
on
now.
the facts and bits, for those that don't know, I have been on a very long hiatus.
Yeah.
Right.
Too long.
He's coming back.
Just say
though.
that.
So I'm coming back.
Come on.
My first headliner, and I'm honored to be.
It's
This
an
is
honor,
my
sir.
first one.
It's an
Nah,
honor.
it's an
I'm
honor
calling
for
you
You're
me.
going to give us a window to your spirit.
I'm gonna
He's
give
in
you
the suit,
a
ain't he?
window to my spirit on the 2nd of April. So I was thinking about it, and I am working on new things.
Jeez.
So I'm gonna bless
Exclusives.
with exclusives. So everyone listening, you better grab your tickets. And I'm excited to that. But the reason I was on hiatus, guys,
Oh shit!
is
Hey,
because
I knew the box
Oh,
meant
shit.
something. I was like,
what are you bringing up, bro?
it's because you're looking at
Come on.
the
Come
rookie
on.
of the year.
I didn't even realize
Come
that's what the box
on.
was,
So I'm walking around with this with my chest. This
Come
is
on.
my version of a BAFTA award in sales, guys. So,
Come on, now congratulations.
well done.
So when he
man.
says he's in sales, it's not no joke thing. We're out here
Thank
doing
I
this
need
thing.
you to help sell tickets.
Oh, bro, I can. I haven't started pushing it. That's it. Like literally, I remember what's it called? When I did my headline of BYOB, Abdullah was like, "Oh, when you gonna sell tickets?" I said, "Don't worry. When I sell them, they'll sell."
I was just joking, but like, I don't really. I usually do all the pushing and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nah, you don't need to push, bro. I just need to just tell people get them.
because this podcast will come out in July, so you would have already done the part.
So let me retract that, guys. So rookie of the year has come out of his
I've come out of retirement already.
come out of retirement, came back, so I can
I've already
do
done
this
Windows.
thing. Yeah. So what I'm gonna say is like next week you're gonna see my set at Windows to Spirits.
But no, with that being said though,
Yeah.
like I said, I hope you said you might have us back. We'll be happy to come back.
Oh,
But thanks.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
We're not there yet.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's on the
We're
getting you
getting
back.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for having
No, I enjoy
us.
this. I
It
enjoy
was
this.
it was a vibe. And we all knew it would have been. But yeah, I'm just looking back and thinking we haven't scratched the surface. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we need
so
to-
you know we've been
there's
having
a lot
fun.
to touch upon.
Yeah.
Before we do our final goodbyes and thank yous,
You want to plug yourself? Is that what you want to do?
I want both of us to plug ourselves.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so
do that.
first, I want to start with you because you're always doing stuff. Where can people find you, Metaforest, and what is it that people should be looking forward to? What you're working on?
Oh,
For example, you've got to reference the music video that you've done.
Oh
That
yeah.
is dropping. So I've seen some of the behind-the-scenes footage.
Ooh.
I've never
You did
seen
videos,
I
yeah?
have never seen someone capturing golden hour so beautifully as what he has
So-
on camera. So
Talk to
basi-
us.
So basically, okay. So what Haroon's referring to is I'm working with a singer called Grace Fleury. So she's commissioned me to do a couple of her music videos. So you've got Reminiscing, which is out now, and you can also, by the time this podcast comes out, Gone will be out,
Nice.
which is probably one of my favorite videos so far.
Yeah.
In terms of what I've done in my videography career, it is levels.
Mm.
I'm not gonna lie. Also, Windows to the Spirits every first Sunday in the month.
Come on.
Swarthy will have already headlines.
Nice.
I had to like convince Swarthy. Yo, Swarthy, how about doing like 40 minutes or 45 minutes?
Well, you didn't need to convince me. You didn't need to
'Cause
convince me.
I was like, bruv, I want to make this special. Yeah, it's called Windows, so it's an evening with Swarthy. Yeah, it's not just Swarthy headlining. It's an evening with. You're gonna get to know him
We like
on a
that.
different level. And yeah, like people need to know what this guy's about. And from early, you've been one of my favorites. And like I said, I like to give people platforms that you know, I swear, like he's that person's sick, but they just not seen him too much. Like so, and people need to know who you are. So that, and then obviously Instagram, YouTube, the Metaforecast, the metaphor with a PH, and then add an EST at the end. Website coming as well. This, if not by March, then later on in the year. And yeah, man, just poetry and shibs. 31st of March, and some more poetry and shibs later on in the year. So
Come on.
yeah. What about you, Haroon?
Big
Me,
H.
God, there's a lot to get off my chest because it's been a big week.
Mr. Energetic.
Do
doing
it.
stuff. So obviously
Yeah, come
you
on.
can find me at Haroon Creates, HAROON Creates, small h, on Instagram and Twitter.
Come on.
However, now you can also find me on YouTube at Haroon Creates, as I launched my YouTube channel. So poetry videos are going up there. But also, while I've been recording the podcast with Metaforecast, and, you know, with this partnership, we basically both use the footage for our respective podcasts. For you, the Metaforecast; for me, Speak Easy with Haroon. Even while we were recording, I hadn't actually launched Speak Easy.
Yeah, I love that.
I recorded the first season in 2021.
Which is going to be out.
It's going to be out in the morning
By the time this
comes out. But, you know, God knows
Yeah.
when that will be. But yeah, tomorrow,
July.
March 4th,
Yeah.
2023. Yeah, I had a lot of anxiety, imposter syndrome, wanting to hide. And I made a big decision that I'm just going to push and do it. And then obviously, you know, I was going to say Metaforecast. You're branding, man. You're branding.
Like I said, the SEO is strong.
SEO is
I've been
strong.
working on it since 2020, bro. Like,
Go on.
hashtag my name.
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, no, with Meta, he started saying, okay, I'm going to do one. And we talked about collaborating. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I need to dig up all of the audio, all the footage, and I need to just finish editing. So this week, I launched a trailer for the first episode, which was an interview with Sophia Bennett, who Cambridge graduate, went and was a McKinsey management consultant, and then quit to become a YA author and follow her dreams. So the full podcast is coming out tomorrow. And just generally this year, you're going to see a lot more podcasts. You're going to see a lot more solo podcasts from me, which is what the basis
It's gonna be fire.
of Speak Easy with Haroon is all about. But at the same time, I am never going to miss a single opportunity to co-create with the Metaforecast.
Come on.
I will be making more beats. You'll
Music's
see that
coming though.
music's
now.
coming.
He's cooking. I've heard some stuff.
Got to keep on
No,
the,
no,
on the
DL,
DL.
yeah.
DL.
Alright.
Cut that out. You need to cut that out.
What, you got
But
your
no, we
apron
can keep
ready,
it on
yeah?
there.
Yeah.
But
You got your apron and
He's
that.
chefing. He's chefing.
chefing.
Cooking
Chefing.
and that.
No, it's been an
Yeah,
honor,
but-
guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming through. And I've got so much to talk about: music, poetry, wrestling,
Yeah.
Everything.
the top billboard of rappers. Because we didn't even touch
Yeah.
on that.
I did.
That was the conversation.
No, but like-
nothing more needs to be.
No, we leave it there. That's another podcast in
Yeah.
itself. We'll bring you back. Even your relationship.
Scandalous behaviour.
Also, like, we didn't touch on Swarthy's relationship with J. Cage, which I wanted to do because
Do you know
that's
what?
a beautiful friendship. I like. So.
Bring me and him together.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Trust
Then
me.
they
went to school together, guys.
Yeah,
That's mad.
We
Yo,
go
that's
way
history.
back. We
That's
go way
history.
back.
OG barking crew.
Yes.
Barking.
Yes. Well, he's Dag. I'm Barking. So, but
Neighbours.
East.
Yeah, we're from the same borough, but they all had beef.
Yeah,
But
it's same. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
In most places.
It's Swarthy from the 11.
Trust me. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope that leave a comment down in the comment box because I want to see
Whether it's YouTube,
Yeah,
Spotify,
Spotify.
Yeah, comment
iTunes.
on that.
we're everywhere, man.
And if by then
And
we get
follow
to
everyone
Podbean
here.
and Stitcher and all the others.
Yeah, and follow everyone here because if you don't, I'm gonna find you guys, and I'm gonna get your phone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna force you to follow them.
You're going to miss out on the greatness. Yeah, we're doing this thing this year. All four of us.
And hopefully RVJ is selling those RVJ Wordplay hats as well by
Yeah,
the time this
100%,
comes
man.
out because I need one
100%.
of them still.
You need to bring back your hoodies.
Oh yeah, the hoodies are coming. I just
Cool.
need to
Cool.
collect the capital.
Alright.
I'm rocking
I hear that.
DMX for a bit.
It's funny you
So good
mentioned.
look.
It's funny you mentioned collecting the capital because I just bought a copy of Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto. So there's the yin and yang between me and him.
Yeah.
He's making stacks, and I'm talking about like giving power to the workers, not the owners of capital.
Oh no, I'm an ethical. I'm an ethical business owner.
As am I. Peace.
Love.